Chapter 275. In a hurry for a century, numerous beings, all watching one person. Please subscribe. For a moment, heaven and earth seemed to collapse. It was as if all things were destroyed. Lin Yuan gathered his two primordial spirits and with all his might, he struck. He completely surpassed the 6th rank limit, and purely in terms of might, perhaps he was already close to the 7th rank. A moment later, the nature's spiritual energy gradually calmed. Lin Yuan looked down. It's a pity? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. His full-strength attack had still not breached Mount Morality Immortal. Well then. Lin Yuan did not care much. The Taoed Immortal sect, with its inheritance spanning hundreds of thousands of years, had profound secrets, and unless a Unity Realm True Immortal or a 7th rank Evolver intervened, it would be very difficult to completely break through their sect protection array. Lin Yuan's visit this time was not to permanently resolve the Taoed Immortal sect. Instead, it was to test his own strength, using the entire Taoed Immortal sect as a standard to measure against. Although I can't break it, I have almost done it. As long as I cultivate to the peak of the 6th rank, full force, my attack might touch upon the 7th rank. By then, I should be able to completely break through Mount Morality Immortal. Lin Yuan looked down at Mount Morality Immortal, pondering to himself. Of course, the premise of Lin Yuan's prediction is that the legendary spirit realm does not intervene. The Taoed Immortal sect controls the Ascension platform, and its past ancient saints, after leading the sect for 10 or 20,000 years, ascend to the spirit realm via the platform. Tens of thousands of years ago, many powerful beings from that era, some surpassing the void refinement limit, have already ascended to a higher level of the spirit realm through the Ascension platform. In the spirit realm, it's almost certain that there resides a Unity Path stage True Immortal. However, the Ascension platform is a one-way passage. The former members of the Taoed Immortal sect who ascended can't return from there. This is also why Lin Yuan dared to take action against the Taoed Immortal sect. With the two realms separated, even if they could intervene, the force they could exert would be very limited, and Lin Yuan, being undefeated in this realm, has nothing to fear from them. Let's go back. Lin Yuan glanced at the Taoed Immortal sect beneath him. And then he disappeared. Actually, Lin Yuan could have left behind a Yang spirit or a Yin god to continue suppressing the Taoed Immortal sect. But there was no need, with the combat power he had just displayed. Even without leaving a suppressive avatar, the disciples of the Taoed Immortal sect would probably not dare to venture out for a long time, especially those nascent soul true monarchs and Mahayana heavenly monarchs. Even if you gave them 10 times the courage, they wouldn't dare step outside the bounds of Mount Morality Immortal. So, in that case, it might as well be that both of his primordial spirits return together, as training the primordial spirit could also improve Lin Yuan's efficiency in understanding Tao. Accompanied by Lin Yuan's departure, within Mount Morality Immortal, countless Immortal sect disciples cried tears of relief. Just now, they really felt the threat of death, thinking the Taoed Immortal sect, with its heritage of hundreds of thousands of years, might actually not withstand the attack of that yin-yang great grinding disc. But now, Mount Morality Immortal had not been breached. And that figure, standing high in the sky, looking down on them like a true immortal, Wuxia, had also disappeared, likely having left. We have survived. Haha, I knew my life wasn't supposed to end. We survived, we really survived. Countless Immortal sect disciples couldn't help but celebrate wildly. From life to death, and from death back to life, such great fluctuations, even for cultivators, could inevitably affect their state of mind. Survived. Above in the sky, Jun Wuxia watched the disciples' wild celebration and couldn't help feeling a bit bitter. Since when had the lofty disciples of the Taoed Immortal sect expressed such sentiments? Go find the sect master. He composed himself and immediately flew towards the top of Mount Morality Immortal. 4 ordinary disciples, indeed they had survived. But for the higher-ups of the Immortal sect, it was just the beginning. What the Immortal sect needs to do next is crucial. Wuxia had only left, not died. It was far from a time for celebration. The grand hall at the top of Mount Morality Immortal. Sect Master Mu Qinglu sat in the main seat, his eyes closed, frowning in deep thought. Sect Master Mu Mengting appeared in the hall, bowing slightly to Mu Qinglu. Mu Qinglu opened his eyes and looked at Mu Mengting. Observing the respectful demeanor of Mu Mengting, Mu Qinglu subconsciously compared him to Jun Dongjin, and found the two simply couldn't compare. Did I really choose wrong? Mu Qinglu thought silently to himself. If he had not chosen Mu Mengting to be the next Immortal sect leader but had chosen Jun Dongjin instead, would they have avoided the disaster that had just befallen the Taoed Immortal sect? Although it's true that Lin Yuan wanted to spread martial Tao, a point on which he definitely won't compromise, and neither would the Dao Immortal sect, if Jun Dongjin had been the leader of the Immortal sect, there would have been at least some room for easing the situation, instead of it escalating to direct conflict like just now. Sect Master, what should we do now? Mu Mingting asked cautiously. What should we do? Mu Qinglu focused his thoughts. Wuji's strength is beyond us now, we can only seek the advice of our ancestors. The ancestors' opinions? Mu Mingting's eyes lit up. The Dao Immortal sect had been inherited for hundreds of thousands of years and had no less than 30 generations of leaders. On average, each leader ruled the Immortal sect for only 10 to 20,000 years. Why is that? It must be known that an ancient saint of refinement void's lifespan far exceeds 20,000 years, as the three ancient saints from the Blood Demon Sea, Nether Palace and Demon Saint's Nest have lived from that era until now. It's not difficult for an ancient saint of refinement void to live for several 100,000 years. But in reality, the Dao Immortal sect has had many leaders, and the reason is the spirit realm. The Dao Immortal sect controls the Ascension platform, a passage linking to the spirit realm, and its past leaders ascended to the spirit realm through it. Chapter 276. In a hurry for a century, numerous beings, all watching one person. Please subscribe. Underscore 2. It is said that the cultivation environment in the spirit realm far surpasses that of the central divine continent. In the spirit realm, the ancestors of the Dao Immortal sect even included Unity Realm true immortals. You should not have too many expectations for the ancestors. The ancestors residing in the spirit realm find it difficult to intervene in the lower realms. Mu Qinglu shook his head. If the ancestors could intervene in central divine continent, then the Demon Saint's Nest, Nether Palace and Blood Demon Sea would have been flattened long ago. How could they still exist today? Bayou Island. Jun Dongjin, Mu Lianer, Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan. They were anxiously waiting, speculating uneasily. Is this Bayou Island? The territory of Master Yuanyang? Does Wuji also have a connection with Master Yuanyang? The shock in Jun Dongjin's heart never ceased. Although he had vaguely guessed from Lin Yuan Taiyin Primordial Spirit's display of Universe in the Sleeve, that his youngest son Jun Wuji might be far stronger than they imagined, yet until they received Jun Wuji's personal confirmation they could not be sure. At that moment, Lin Yuan appeared not far away. Wuji, younger brother, Mu Lianer, Jun Jilan and Jun Xiaoyao ran over first. What exactly is going on? The person who met us earlier, why does he look like you? Jun Jilan couldn't help but ask. That was one of my, let's say, avatars, Lin Yuan thought for a moment and explained. The martial path evolutionary path's martial Tao primordial spirit indeed resembled an avatar, only it did not require the same price as cultivating an avatar. Next, Lin Yuan disclosed everything truthfully. Like his true strength, both the so-called Master Yuanyang and Ancient Saint Taiyin were his avatars. As for why he possessed such power, Lin Yuan explained that in his childhood, some memories suddenly emerged in his mind. Those memories contained some incomplete cultivation methods. Anyway, it was mostly true with a bit of falsehood. I have read in some ancient scriptures that before the appearance of the Ascension platform, those capable of exceeding the void refinement limit faced the end of their lifespans and would attempt reincarnation. Wuji, you must be the reincarnation of some powerful being. However, the theory of reincarnation is elusive and includes grappling with the mystery in the womb. That powerful being's true self might have already dissipated, leaving only some memories for you, Wuji, to take in. Jun Dongjin pondered for a while and then spoke. Although the theory of reincarnation was elusive, it truly existed. In the history of the Dao Immortal sect, it had taken in some exceptionally precocious disciples. These disciples were innately knowledgeable, and visions of another world would often flash through their minds. Young brother, are you saying that you just visited Mount Morality Immortal and almost breached it? Jun Jilan blinked her eyes. She understood every word Lin Yuan said, but when combined, why did it seem so alien? I took action against the Dao Immortal sect with no ill intentions, only to prove my strength in preparation for spreading the martial Tao, Lin Yuan stated truthfully. If one wanted to spread the martial Tao, relying solely on kinship and words was futile. The Dao Immortal sect had the backing of the spirit realm ancestors, so Lin Yuan never intended to eradicate Mount Morality Immortal. After all, Lin Yuan could only stay in this world for 500 years, and even if he did destroy the Dao Immortal sect 500 years later after Lin Yuan left this world, the Dao Immortal sect's spirit realm ancestors could easily make a comeback and re-establish the Dao Immortal sect. Even for a Unity Realm true immortal, Spanning two realms to break through world barriers and intervene in the lower realms is extremely challenging. At most, they could employ some minor tricks. Such tactics might be sufficient to deal with ordinary beings who had surpassed the void refinement limit, but against Lin Yuan, they were utterly ineffective. However, with Lin Yuan present for the next 500 years, there was no need to worry about the martial Tao. But what about after 500 years? Thus, the real purpose of Lin Yuan's actions was to force the hands of those ancestors from the Dao Immortal sect in the spirit realm. As for why he did not use more peaceful methods, such as speaking frankly with Mu Qinglu, there really was no difference. If Lin Yuan lacked sufficient strength, even if he appeared in a peaceful demeanor, he would still face suppression from the Dao Immortal sect. Conversely, if Lin Yuan demonstrated the ability to annihilate the Dao Immortal sect in this realm, no matter what he did, as long as he did not cross a line, there would be room for negotiation. Moreover, Lin Yuan had another motive. That was to avenge his parents. It was the Dao Immortal sect's mistake in choosing the wrong person. Wuji, you do as you see fit. Jun Dongjin looked at his son and said, having experienced the peak and the potential of becoming the next sect master within the Dao Immortal sect as well as the lows, having spent a century at the remote vast cliff mountain, he had seen through many things. After explaining everything to his parents, elder brother and elder sister, Lin Yuan personally arranged a residence for them on Bayou Island. Bayou Island brimmed with dense spiritual energy. Even though it was not Mount Morality Immortal, it was a match for any paradise in the central divine continent. It was much better than the remote vast cliff mountain. With his parents cultivating here, Lin Yuan felt very relieved. Several months later, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged inside his cave dwelling. Nearby, a man in a blood-red robe bowed respectfully. I have seen you, my lord. This man in the blood robe was indeed the master of the Blood Demon Sea. After spending several tense months in the Blood Demon Sea, he had decided to pay Lin Yuan a visit in person. Given the strength Lin Yuan had shown, flattening his Blood Demon Sea was not a difficult task. Faced with such a powerhouse, the Blood Demon Master naturally knew what to do. Is this one of your avatars? Lin Yuan looked at the Blood Demon Master with keen interest. He was not the first ancient saint to visit Lin Yuan. Before him, the Ghost Cultivator King of the Nether Palace and the Demon Saint of the Demon Saint's Nest had already visited. They each had offered their core secret techniques in hopes of gaining Lin Yuan's protection. But to say they sought protection was not quite accurate. They merely hoped Lin Yuan would not strike against them. Lin Yuan naturally accepted all of them with a smile. These old ancient saints of refinement void who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years had many valuable secret techniques and teachings. My lord. As my true body cannot leave the Blood Demon Sea, I had to send this incarnation. The Blood Demon Master suddenly grew anxious, thinking that Lin Yuan was blaming him for being rude. Not to worry. Lin Yuan waved his hand. My lord, this is the Immortal Blood Sea skill I've been practicing for a long time. The Blood Demon Master immediately presented a blood-colored jade slip. He then pledged his loyalty to Lin Yuan, saying that if Lin Yuan commanded, he would expand the Blood Demon Sea, invade the central divine continent, and battle the Dao Immortal sect to the death. After sending the Blood Demon Master away, Lin Yuan began to study the Immortal Blood Sea skill in the jade slip. To merge with the Blood Sea, immortal and indestructible. No wonder the Dao Immortal sect has been unable to suppress it for hundreds of thousands of years. This skill already involves some techniques of the Unity realm. Lin Yuan's expression turned slightly solemn. The Demon Saint's Nest and the Nether Palace were able to withstand suppression from the Dao Immortal sect up to this day because the Demon Saint's Nest and the Nether Palace were powerful artifacts left by those who surpassed the void refinement limit tens of thousands of years ago. However, the Master of the Blood Demon Sea did not have these, relying solely on merging with the Blood Demon Sea to remain at large until now. Such technique, if only it could be slightly modified, Lin Yuan was rather tempted. The flaw of the Immortal Blood Sea skill was that one could not leave the item to which one was merged. For example, the Blood Demon Master could not leave the range of the Blood Demon Sea because he was the Blood Demon Sea and the Blood Demon Sea was him. But with Lin Yuan's Against Heaven's understanding, it was not impossible to eliminate this flaw, albeit at the expense of weakening the immortal characteristics slightly. Years passed leisurely. 100 years flew by quickly. Bayou Island became increasingly prosperous, and the number of martial Dao cultivators also grew. In the Jun Dongjing territory, Mu Lianer, Jun Xiaoyao, and Jun Jilan had a happy and stress-free life on Bayou Island. And now, Bayou Island's reputation had surpassed that of the Dao Immortal sect, further elevating the status of Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan. Just then a terrifying aura burst from the core area of Bayou Island. The magnitude of this aura seemed capable of suppressing all things. Across the billion-mile region of the East Sea, nature's spiritual energy began to tremble. The Demon Saint's nest. The Demon Saint looked toward the direction of the East Sea in shock. Has that lord broken through? The Demon Saint murmured to himself. 100 years ago, that lord had the ability to hang up the Dao Immortal sect and beat it. With another step forward, what level would he reach? The Nether Palace. The Ghost Cultivator King sighed. His gaze also turned toward the East Sea, pondering something. The Blood Demon Sea and the Blood Demon Master did the same. The Dao Immortal sect. Mu Qinglu and Mu Mingting felt the aura from the East Sea immediately, sprang from their seats and looked toward the East Sea. As the breakthrough aura became more immense, suddenly countless beings, as if sensing something, looked unconsciously toward the direction of the East Sea. It was as if all the world as one in gaze watched a single man. Chapter 277 Ascension Platform, please subscribe. Name, Jun Wuji Lin Yuan. Identity, holder of the Myriad Realms Gate, bound talent, heaven-defying comprehension, divine skills, blood rebirth, current state, consciousness descent. Remaining residency time, 220 years. At the core cave dwelling on Bayou Island. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, his terrifying aura spreading through the void, rippling out in all directions as if it were ripples formed by a stone thrown into a calm body of water. This world. Lin Yuan opened his eyes and looked towards the direction of the Dao Immortal sect in the central divine continent. With his current understanding of space, no matter how far the distance, he could sense that deep within the Dao Immortal sect, space seemed to be torn open, suggesting some kind of incompleteness. It was as if there was a black dot suddenly appearing on a piece of white paper, which would stand out as extraordinarily prominent in Lin Yuan's vision. Is that the Ascension Platform controlled by the Dao Immortal sect? Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful. Compared to the final spatial rift in the Divine Arms world, this Ascension Platform's connected spatial passage seems much more stable and orderly. It was similar to the spatial passage formed by the crystal cube that the eldest senior brother brought out when Lin Yuan first broke through to the 6th rank, which allowed direct arrival at the Chikuan main star. Lin Yuan sat at the East Sea, observed the Ascension Platform at the Dao Immortal sect for a while, and then shifted his gaze away. The Ascension Platform as of now held no secrets for Lin Yuan. It was simply a stable space passage leading to a certain world. Of course, stable as it might be, it was still filled with a kind of spatial pressure, and only those of at least the 6th rank or refining void ancient saint layer could pass through it. 280 years. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, having descended into this world almost 300 years ago, with just a fraction of the 500 years of residency time left. 60 years ago, I had already stepped into the 12th segment of the 6th rank. 50 years ago, I reached the peak of the 12th segment, and just now, I even managed to take a half step beyond the 12th segment. But the 7th rank, I still haven't figured it out. In 100 years, besides the Taoist immortal scripture from the Dao Immortal sect, Lin Yuan had comprehended all the techniques and secret arts of this world and used their essence as nutrients to feed into the martial path evolutionary path. However, Lin Yuan understood that to truly start the 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path, he still lacked something. Despite having many references for the 7th rank evolution pathway to ponder, the 7th rank chapter that Lin Yuan wanted to create for the martial path evolutionary path would certainly be unique and perfectly fit for himself. 7th rank. Lin Yuan's expression was contemplative. In this world, the immortal cultivation system's realm corresponding to the 7th rank was the Dao integration stage. What is the Dao integration stage? To become one with the Dao, I am the Dao and the Dao is me. The Dao integration stage is also known as True Immortal, which is a level truly belonging to immortals. Dao integration? Perhaps observing the Taoist immortal scripture will help my 7th rank chapter? Lin Yuan thought to himself. It has to be said that the immortal cultivation system indeed has exceptional aspects, and the farther along one gets, the more terrifying the powers wielded by those true immortals become. Unfortunately, the end of this cultivation system seems to have been occupied by a certain existence. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. The immortal path prevails in this world, and it just so happens that an ascension platform connecting to the spirit realm, suitable for the immortal cultivation system, appears? How can this be merely coincidence? In the Dragon Tiger world, there were supreme beings from the upper realms making arrangements, leaving behind the true martial sword and the primeval demon spirit. And in this world, Lin Yuan still sensed traces of the meddling of even higher powers. Even if separated by worlds, even the supreme beings cannot traverse the gap through nothingness and will be subject to severe restrictions. At most, they can only lower their methods. Lin Yuan grew increasingly aware of the terror of the door to the myriad realms, a means that defied both space and time constraints to forcefully project oneself into a particular world, and deemed it inconceivable. To know, the door to the myriad realms can not only perform consciousness descent but also allow physical traversal, and as long as there is enough world-breaking origin force, it can even precisely lock onto and traverse to a specific world. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yuan got up and walked out of the cave dwelling. His strength and realm had now reached a certain limit. Even if he continued to retreat, he might not gain anything in the next several decades or 100 years. This was not because heaven-defying comprehension was insufficient. Lin Yuan could open the 7th rank path now if he did not care about the potential. But there are differences between the 7th rank and the 7th rank. Some 7th rank evolution pathways have the potential to ascend to the 9th stage evolution path. Some 7th rank evolution pathways, however, have no chance of ascending even to the 8th rank. Spiritual energy swirled around Bayou Island, and layers of formation light shielded the entire island. Wuxia, Jun Dongjin, Mu Lianer, Jun Xiaoyao, Jun Jilan, and others, seeing Lin Yuan come out, greeted him promptly. The disturbance caused by Lin Yuan's recent breakthrough was not insignificant, as cultivators with a bit of strength everywhere in the world sensed it. Father, mother? Lin Yuan walked over. How are things on the island now? Lin Yuan asked casually. Spending most of his time in seclusion, Lin Yuan had left most of the affairs of the White Jade Pavilion to his disciples, as well as to his parents and elder brother and sister. However, Jun Dongjin and Mu Lianer were not too keen on intervening in the affairs of the White Jade Pavilion, but Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan showed some interest. Master. Li Qing stepped forward. As Lin Yuan's disciple, she was primarily responsible for all affairs of the White Jade Pavilion. Even Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan were only helping her. Currently in the White Jade Pavilion, there are 16 million disciples at the 1st rank martial Tao, 890 million at the 2nd rank, 110,000 at the 3rd rank, 2,421 at the 4th rank stage martial Tao, and 24 at the 5th rank. Chapter 278 Ascension Platform. Please subscribe. _2. Li Qing paused for a moment, then whispered, no disciple has yet cultivated to the 6th stage martial Tao, indeed. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. The martial path evolutionary path had only been spreading for a little more than 200 years, yet it had already cultivated so many practitioners, which could be considered rapid development. In fact, the fastest development of the martial path evolutionary path occurred in the last 100 years. 100 years ago, Lin Yuan, with an absolutely overwhelming manner, approached the gates of Dao Immortal sect. Even though he ultimately did not breach Mount Morality Immortal, who didn't know of his invincible might. Hence, the martial path evolutionary path propagated by Lin Yuan naturally attracted countless people, especially the heterodox and left paths from the Eastern Sea Islands, who were particularly eager to join White Jade Pavilion. 6th stage martial Tao. Even with Lin Yuan's guidance, White Jade Pavilion has yet to produce a 6th stage martial Tao practitioner. Lin Yuan was not surprised by this fact. The 6th rank corresponded to the ancient saint of refinement void. Even in the main world, the leap from the 5th to 6th rank was a threshold. The essence of life for 6th rank evolvers transformed, enabling them to imprint their life seals onto the cosmic starry skies. In this world, the ancient saint of refinement void was undoubtedly the ceiling of combat power. Even a strong force like Dao Immortal sect was mostly guarded by a single ancient saint. Actually, had it not been for Lin Yuan's sudden enlightenment in the main world, breaking the limitations of the martial path evolutionary path to make it inclusive of everything, otherwise, now not to mention 6th stage martial Tao, probably there would only be a few at the 4th or 5th stages. Not everyone possesses talent in the domain of Taiyin Taiyang Taiji. Next, I need to take a trip away. After chatting with his family and disciples for a while, Lin Yuan spoke up. Leaving? Mu Lianer had a guess in her heart and tentatively asked, Wuji, are you thinking of going to Mount Morality Immortal? 100 years ago, Lin Yuan did not force his way into Mount Morality Immortal. 100 years later, after several breakthroughs, the purpose of Lin Yuan leaving Bayou Island is self-evident. Right? Lin Yuan nodded. Mount Morality Immortal was indeed one of his goals. Wuji, Mu Lianer sighed, wanting to say more but hesitating. Mother, rest assured, I have a sense of measure in what I do, Lin Yuan comforted. His trip to Dao Immortal sect was indeed with the intent of negotiating. Of course, those eligible to negotiate with Lin Yuan could only be the ancestral masters of the spirit realm from Dao Immortal sect. Outside Baiyu Island, the figure of Lin Yuan appeared. Dao Immortal sect. Lin Yuan glanced in the direction of the central divine continent. Before heading to Dao Immortal sect, Lin Yuan had another matter to attend to. That was the deep sea beneath the very Baiyu Island. More precisely, it was the deep sea bottom underneath Baiyu Island. The position of Baiyu Island was not fixed. It would sink to the bottom of the deep sea every 2,000 years, and then resurface after another 2,000 years. Now, Baiyu Island had already become the holy land for martial Dao cultivators. Even in the future, when the focal point of the martial arts system might shift to Central Divine Continent, the position of Baiyu Island would still be irreplaceable. Just as in the main world, it is the same as the ancestral star, the mother star of the Human Civilization Alliance. The territory of the Human Civilization Alliance is vast, encompassing countless life planets, but there is only one ancestral star, the mother star. Its symbolic significance exceeds all else. In this scenario, if Baiyu Island were to continue to follow the 2,000-year pattern of sinking and floating, it would naturally be somewhat inappropriate. The bottom of the deep sea. It was almost completely dark here. Terrible pressure from the sea bore down from all directions. Even nascent soul stage, divinity transformation stage cultivators didn't dare to stay in such an environment for long periods of time. What's more, in the bottom of the deep sea, the most terrifying thing is not the extreme environment, but rather those ancient and ferocious demonic beasts that have existed for tens of thousands of years. Following below Baiyu Island, Lin Yuan came to the bottom of the deep sea. This place is a deep sea eye. Every 2,000 years as sea water circulates, a tremendous suction force emerges, devouring vast amounts of sea water and conveying it to the other side of the East Sea, in an endless cycle. Once every 2,000 years, Lin Yuan thought to himself. And Baiyu Island was right above the eye of the sea. Whenever a suction force emerged, the island would uncontrollably sink until it reached the bottom of the deep sea and blocked the eye of the sea, only then stopping. Once the suction force disappeared, Baiyu Island naturally floated back up. To resist this suction force isn't difficult. One just needs to seal this eye of the sea, he said. Not to mention an ancient saint of refinement void, even a Mahayana phase heaven lord could do it. Only, Lin Yuan glanced around. With his perception, he naturally noticed that many deep-sea behemoths with terrifying auras were nearby. Should he start sealing the eye of the sea, he would definitely alarm those deep-sea behemoths. With their enormous bodies and the fact they were in their home territory, even an ancient saint of refinement void, if surrounded by a group of deep-sea behemoths, would probably only be able to flee in a sorry state. But for Lin Yuan, of course, this wasn't an issue. Seal. Lin Yuan looked towards the eye of the deep sea, his mind slightly stirring, releasing strands of essence that began to seal the massive eye of the sea. Far away, many deep-sea behemoths noticed the disturbance. They immediately started to approach. The next moment, these deep-sea behemoths seemed to realize something. They fled at speeds tens of times faster than when they had approached. Quite astute, he said. Lin Yuan glanced at those deep-sea behemoths frantically fleeing. He had intentionally let out a small trace of his aura, which nearly scared the behemoths out of their wits. While the behemoths of the deep sea had low spiritual wisdom, they weren't stupid. Feeling an aura far surpassing their own, who would dare to approach? An hour later, Lin Yuan completely sealed the eye of the deep sea. He then left the seabed and headed in the direction of the Central Divine Continent. Mount Morality Immortal. Lin Yuan's form appeared without a sound. 100 years had passed, yet Mount Morality Immortal had not changed. But the disciples of the sect had obviously become much more low-key. If they had no important business, they almost never left Mount Morality Immortal. You two stay outside, he said. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, his mind slightly moving, and Yin spirit and Yang spirit emerged, standing on each side of him. Although with Lin Yuan's current strength, even if the Dao Immortal sect really did summon the ancestral masters of the spirit realm, it would likely be useless, posing no threat to Lin Yuan. But it's always best to be cautious just in case. For safety, Lin Yuan decided to keep Yin spirit and Yang spirit outside. Lin Yuan's original self and Yin spirit and Yang spirit were a united three. As long as one still existed, the other two could be reborn, even if they were annihilated or fallen. Taiyin giving rise to Taiyang. Or Taiyang giving rise to Taiyin. Finally, Taiji giving birth to all things, where all things refer to Lin Yuan's physical body. Leave a drop of essence blood outside, he said. Lin Yuan raised his right hand. A drop of crimson essence blood emerged, falling into the Yang spirit. Though Taiyin and Taiyang blended into Taiji, which in turn fostered the physical body, this method would take a considerable amount of time. And it would also consume some origin source. If he used essence blood instead, it would be much better. The physical body divine ability that Lin Yuan mastered, blood rebirth. Even with only a drop of fresh blood, he could quickly be reborn. Such was the power of divine skills. Now it's about time, he said. Lin Yuan looked at the preparations he made, a smile appearing on his face. With these precautions, even if the most unlikely situation occurred, he could recover as quickly as possible. Dowd Immortal Sect. Lin Yuan turned his head, looking toward the Immortal Mountain not far off. The many sect protection arrays passed through Lin Yuan's eyes. If it had been 100 years earlier, Lin Yuan would have had to forcefully break through these sect protection arrays. But after 100 years, besides cultivating, he also refined his against heaven's understanding, completely grasping all the sect protection arrays of the Dowd Immortal Sect. 100 years ago, the combined strike of Lin Yuan's original Yang God and Yin God self was even aimed at observing the operation of the formation. Under the immense pressure caused by Lin Yuan's intervention, the Dowd Immortal Sect's many sect protection arrays operated beyond their capacity, allowing Lin Yuan to witness some of their essence. Through against heaven's understanding of these formation essences, Lin Yuan now could definitely be called the top formation master in the Central Divine Continent. Especially regarding the many sect protection arrays of the Dowd Immortal Sect. He knew them like the back of his hand and could easily come and go as he pleased. Mu Mingting sighed slightly with relief. The only ones who could provide him with a sense of security now were the lofty ancestral masters of the spirit realm. Actually, Mu Mingting felt quite aggrieved. Ancient saints of refinement void in the history of the Dowd Immortal Sect. Weren't they all lorded over everything, commanding heaven and earth? Even if the last generation's Immortal Sect leader were still alive, the newly born ancient saint would be showered in numerous honors and preside with authority. But his case was different. Just having broken through to the refining void period, becoming an ancient saint, he ushered in the darkest era for the Dowd Immortal Sect in tens of thousands of years. He nearly failed to protect his own Immortal Mountain's gates, causing all sect disciples to tremble with fear, and as an ancient saint of refinement void, he didn't even dare to leave the house, afraid that Jun Wuji might seize the opportunity to kill him. With the ancestral masters of the spirit realm present, that Jun Wuji, Mu Mingting was just about to spit out some harsh words. Suddenly, a voice transmitted over. What? At that utterance, Mu Mingting froze for a moment as if trying to figure out who had said those words. But the next instant Mu Mingting started to tremble all over. For as he turned his head, he saw a figure appearing out of nowhere, seated on one side of the great hall. This figure had a calm countenance and did not emanate the slightest hint of a strong presence, but by merely standing there, it nearly suffocated Mu Mingting, the ancient saint of refinement void. Jun Wuji. It's Jun Wuji. How did he get in? How did he appear here? Countless thoughts flashed through Mu Mingting's mind. At this moment he was utterly baffled. The sect protection array outside showed no sign of being alerted, nor had it been breached. How could Jun Wuji have entered? Jun Wuji? Mu Qinglu also saw Jun Wuji. His face turned slightly pale at this moment. However, no matter how frightened and uneasy Mu Qinglu and Mu Mingting felt inside, they never thought about running. What a joke. Run. Where could they run to? This was the safest place in the Dowd Immortal Sect. If Jun Wuji could enter here without a sound, it was as if there was nothing in the world that could stop Jun Wuji anymore. All right. Let's get down to business. Lin Yuan looked at Mu Qinglu. Take me to the Ascension platform. The spread of martial Tao in this realm didn't give the Taoist Immortal Sect master much of a say. The main decision rested with the Immortal Sect ancestors of the spirit realm. This time Lin Yuan came to the Dowd Immortal Sect to negotiate with the ancestral masters of the Immortal Sect in the spirit realm. Okay. Mu Qinglu fell silent for a moment and immediately agreed. With Lin Yuan's strength, had he come with the intention to kill the moment he appeared in the hall, none of them would have survived. Given that, Mu Qinglu knew what he had to do. Follow me. In the end, Mu Qinglu took a deep look at Lin Yuan. He looked at the man who was once his own grandson. Sect Master, the Ascension platform is actually my... Mu Mingting, seeing this, immediately became anxious. The Ascension platform was key to contacting the ancestral masters of the spirit realm, the Dowd Immortal Sect's last trump card, and now they were just going to bring Jun Wuji to it? Be quiet. Lin Yuan glanced at Mu Mengting. In an instant, Mu Mengting's gaze dimmed, his vitality slipping away. That Mengting, seeing this, Mu Qinglu inwardly sighed. Mu Mengting already had a vendetta with the Jun family and had even sent people to kill Jun Dongjin and his family before. In such circumstances, if Mu Mengting had kept a low profile, trying as much as possible not to attract attention, perhaps he could have lived. But unfortunately, Mu Qinglu didn't know what to say. Didn't he see that even I was being so cooperative, still thinking about preserving the Ascension platform? At the deepest part of the Dao Immortal sect, within a secret realm, Mu Qinglu stopped walking. This is where the Ascension platform is kept. Chapter 280 The Coordinates of the Spirit Realm. It's not impossible. Returning tomorrow. Please subscribe. _2. Mu Qinglu looked at Lin Yuan and said softly, "Open." Lin Yuan nodded. This indeed matched the location of the rift in space he had sensed. Mu Qinglu was quite tactful, not scheming on this matter. Very well. What Mu Qinglu did not know was, if he had harbored any other intentions, Lin Yuan would have seen right through him. At Lin Yuan's current realm, space was like paper before him. He could clearly feel every fluctuation. Under Mu Qinglius manipulation, the entrance to the secret realm was gradually being opened. The space inside revealed itself. At the deepest part of the space, a portal only half a meter tall, made of stone, came into view. Is that the Ascension platform? Lin Yuan's gaze shifted there. This stone portal faintly had spatial fluctuations swirling around it, and the portal itself displayed a silvery white color. The instant Lin Yuan gazed at this portal, a majestic and grand door to the myriad realms in the depths of his mind suddenly began to glow. Seemingly invisible fluctuations swept over the distant Ascension platform. A moment later, a stream of information from the door to the myriad realms was transmitted to Lin Yuan's mind. Oh! Lin Yuan was slightly startled. He glanced at Mu Qinglu next to him. He noticed that Mu Qinglu had not perceived any of the recent changes. It was as if the power sweeping out from the door to the myriad realms existed in another dimension, unnoticed by anyone. Coordinates of the spirit realm. Lin Yuan rubbed his brow. The information transmitted from the door to the myriad realms was indeed the coordinates of the spirit realm. At this very moment, Lin Yuan partially immersed his consciousness into his mind. He gazed at that majestic and grand door to the myriad realms. If one were to observe, they would find that near the threshold of the door to the myriad realms, there existed 5 seals. These 5 seals represented the coordinates of the martial world, dragon tiger world, divine arms world, 5 regions world, and the current immortal Tao world. These 5 worlds, all of which Lin Yuan had once traversed, were thus locked onto by the door to the myriad realms, capturing their coordinates. Because of this, armed with the world coordinates, Lin Yuan could spend 10 strands of world-breaking origin force to revisit these worlds. But now, following those 5 world coordinate seals, a 6th world coordinate seal formed anew. It was the spirit realm's world coordinates. Although Lin Yuan had not descended into the spirit realm, the Ascension platform was connected to the spirit realm, and it naturally contained the spirit realm's coordinates inside. The force from the door to the myriad realms had just swept the Ascension platform, copying its internal world coordinates. Spirit realm. Lin Yuan's expression was slightly odd. Theoretically, with the spirit realm's coordinates, Lin Yuan could return to the main world and spend 10 strands of world-breaking origin force to descend to the spirit realm once more. Seeing Lin Yuan intently looking at the Ascension platform, Mu Qinglu did not dare to urge him, and could only continue to wait. Let your immortal sect ancestors come down. Lin Yuan waited patiently for a while, confirming that there were no other world coordinates inside the Ascension platform. Then he spoke. Ah! At these words, Mu Qinglu was slightly shaken. He didn't expect Lin Yuan to be so forthright, giving him time to summon the ancestral masters of the spirit realm. Very well. Mu Qinglu hesitated for a moment, then agreed. After all, this was what Lin Yuan had asked him to do. Whatever happened later had nothing to do with him. Mu Qinglu entered the secret realm and approached the Ascension platform, his demeanor respectful, employing a secret technique, his lips barely moving as if uttering some words. A moment later, the Ascension platform began to glow. Spatial fluctuations started to intensify, as if a terrifying power was piercing through 2 worlds, descending along a fixed spatial passage. In front of the Ascension platform, the figure of a Taoist wearing a Taoist robe slowly materialized. I am Xianxia Immortal. Are you the one who wishes to see me? The Taoist figure was ethereal as he looked at Lin Yuan with a smile on his lips. A strand of projection from a unity realm, true immortal? Lin Yuan was similarly observing the other party. The spirit realm and the central divine continent were separated by two realms. Even the most powerful beings from the upper realm could not descend to the lower realms in their true form. At most they could send down a projection. This projection could not stray too far from the ascension platform. Otherwise, it might lose connection with its main body in the upper realm and directly collapse. Xianxia Immortal looked at Lin Yuan. The more he observed, the more shocked he felt inside. Mu Qinglu had already informed him about the numerous pieces of intelligence regarding Lin Yuan, such as cultivating for hundreds of years, surpassing the peak of refined void, and simultaneously creating another cultivation system not inferior to the immortal path, and so on. Xianxia Immortal had also relayed this intelligence to the other ancestors of the Dao Immortal sect. All the ancestors unanimously believed that Lin Yuan must have been seized by some powerful being from tens of thousands of years ago. Otherwise, in the central divine continent, progressing to this extent alone without the support of the Dao Immortal sect was nearly impossible. Especially the martial Tao cultivation system, with such a conception and potential not inferior to the immortal path cultivation system, how could it be created in just a few hundred years? It must be those powerful beings who reincarnated, those who lived through the long ages, experienced many eras, obtained this martial Tao cultivation system, and are now beginning to spread it, thus stirring up a series of movements within the central divine continent. This was the truth conjectured by the ancestral masters of the immortal sects from the spirit realm. The reason Xianxia Immortal descended his projection to the lower realm this time was that among the ancestors of the Dao Immortal sect through the ages, Xianxia Immortal had lived the longest and knew the most old monsters. Perhaps he could identify which powerful being had taken over Lin Yuan. As long as they understood Lin Yuan's origins, everything would be easy to handle. However, now, Xianxia Immortal was somewhat dazed. Because from his observations, Lin Yuan's soul and body were in perfect harmony. He didn't seem to have been seized at all. It's known that even if a true immortal of the merged path performed a seizure, there would be a slight rejection due to the different origins of the soul and body. Based on this kind of rejection, it was very easy to identify the seizer's identity. But now there was absolutely no such sense of rejection in Lin Yuan. There were two possibilities. One was that the projection he had descended was too weak, so much so that it could not detect that kind of rejection from the seizure. The second was that Lin Yuan had not been seized. Xianxia Immortal felt that the first possibility was not likely. The projection he had descended, even if weak, was still that of a unity realm true immortal. With his insight, he naturally could see that Lin Yuan had not stepped into the unity realm. With such a difference in realms, Xianxia Immortal did not believe he could miss the sense of rejection from a seizure. Since the first possibility was ruled out, that left the second possibility. Lin Yuan reaching today's status, growing in a few hundred years to be the strongest in this realm, and even pioneering a cultivation system not inferior to the immortal path, was all by himself. Who would have thought that such a monstrous talent would emerge from the barren lower realms? Xianxia Immortal quietly watched Lin Yuan. Even in the spirit realm, such aptitude would only be found in the core disciples of the immortal king-level forces, and even pioneering a unique cultivation system distinct from the way of immortals, this potential. Xianxia Immortal's thoughts were churning. Without a doubt, Lin Yuan's potential was absolutely the most monstrous he had witnessed, even surpassing those immortal princes or even some immortal kings during their youth. After all, Lin Yuan had reached such achievements in the lower realms, while those immortal princes and young immortal kings grew up in the vast spirit realm. The two simply couldn't compare. So you wish to spread the martial Tao cultivation system in the central divine continent? Xianxia Immortal looked at Lin Yuan and slowly said. Next to him, Mu Qinglius' mind tensed upon hearing his ancestor utter these words. He vividly remembered, when he first relayed the intelligence and intentions about Lin Yuan to the ancestors, the enormity of the ancestors' reaction. Such audacity! Dreaming of spreading other cultivation systems in my central divine continent. The central divine continent, bathed in the radiance of the immortal path, can only dignify the immortal path alone. Other cultivation systems might struggle to survive, but going against the mainstream is utterly impossible. The above encapsulated the attitudes of the ancestors. This time, the reason for Xianxia Immortal's descent of power to the lower realm was not only because he had lived the longest, and was most likely to recognize Lin Yuan's background, but also because Xianxia Immortal was the strongest. Even if just a projection, he could still exert combat power close to that of the Dao integration realm. Are we going to fight? I wonder if Wuji can match the ancestor. Mu Qinglu subconsciously took a few steps back, as if already foreseeing the tense situation that was about to unfold. But the next words from Sanqing Immortal left Mu Qinglu stunned in his place. It's not necessarily impossible, Sanqing Immortal pondered for a while and seriously said. Chapter 281 Dao Oath, Step into 7th rank in 200 years, please subscribe. Young friend wishes to spread the martial Tao cultivation system. It's not impossible, that Sanqing Immortal quietly observed Lin Yuan for a while and then spoke earnestly. With the vision of a late-stage Dao integration from the Sanqing Immortal, it was natural to see the immense potential in Lin Yuan. It was fair to say it was beyond belief. Such a being, upon reaching the spirit realm, would easily step into the unity path stage. He might even hope to touch upon the realms above Dao integration, looking down upon the spirit realm's domain of the immortal kings. To suppress or kill such an immortal king seed would be the most foolish choice. Because it is pointless, if successful there would be no great benefit and if failed it would be a disaster. Therefore befriending is the best choice. Even if one cannot become friends one must never offend. Lin Yuan wanted to spread the martial Tao cultivation system in the central divine continent. This would inevitably have an impact on the immortal cultivation system, which is why Mu Qinglu dared not agree under any circumstance. If she agreed, how could she explain it to the ancestors upon ascending to the spirit realm through the ascension platform? However, as the strongest of the Dao Immortal sect in the spirit realm, Sanqing Immortal did have the authority to make this decision. To spread the martial Tao? Lin Yuan was slightly surprised to hear what the Sanqing Immortal had said. Originally, he thought that he would at least have to fight, showcasing his strength, and then negotiate with the threat of extinguishing the lineage of the Dao Immortal sect in the central divine continent, ultimately reaching some agreement. What if the Dao Immortal sect reneged later? As long as Lin Yuan didn't ascend to the spirit realm, the Dao Immortal sect wouldn't dare go back on their word. The Blood Demon ruler could live for tens of thousands of years, so Lin Yuan, who far surpassed the Blood Demon ruler, could potentially live for millions or tens of millions of years, right? Of course, that's what the outside world thought. Actually, Lin Yuan had to return to the main world in just over 200 years. But only Lin Yuan knew this. The ancestors of the Dao Immortal sect and even those in the spirit realm were unaware. Even if Lin Yuan disappeared, they would only assume he was hiding in some corner, quietly watching the situation in the central divine continent. And Lin Yuan could always return after leaving this world. With the world coordinates of the door to the myriad realms, he could vaguely sense the general trends of this world. And as long as he expended some world-breaking origin force, Lin Yuan could also redescend to this world. Mu Qinglu was somewhat bewildered by the side. The Azure ancestor was compromising just like that? What about the grandiose words spoken earlier? Mu Qinglu could not understand, but he knew that every move the ancestor made had deep significance. Since the ancestor said so, he must have discovered something. That's right. The central divine continent is but one of the million lower realms of the spirit realm, nothing significant. For a genius like the young friend, the real stage is the spirit realm, spoke the Sanqing Immortal calmly. It was something Mu Qinglu found a bit difficult to get used to for a while. The spirit realm. Lin Yuan glanced at the coordinates of the spirit realm on the door of the realm. If he encountered any bottlenecks in the future that he could not overcome through regular travel, it might be worth visiting the spirit realm. What do I need to give in return? Lin Yuan asked directly. Even though the Sanqing Immortal seemed kind and approachable, Lin Yuan knew that the other party couldn't possibly be a saint. Quite simple. When the young friend ascends to the spirit realm, help the immortal sect once if it's within your power, said the Sanqing Immortal. This was not an excessive demand. First and foremost were the words, if it's within your power, which allowed great flexibility, mainly depending on whether Lin Yuan wished to help or not. The Sanqing Immortal knew that when dealing with a genius like Lin Yuan, one should never set too stringent of a promise. No problem. Lin Yuan nodded. He had the faint feeling that the Sanqing Immortal was pleasing, investing in him. Without even the most basic restrictions, Lin Yuan was totally in the position of choosing to help or not. But regardless, his goal had been achieved. How do we ensure it? Lin Yuan asked the critical question. How to ensure that the Dao Immortal sect would continuously allow the spread of the martial Tao cultivation system. I can make a vow on the Dao. The Sanqing Immortal replied without hesitation. A vow on the Dao? Lin Yuan was slightly puzzled. Young friend might not understand, a vow on the Dao is a pledge made in the name of the great spirit realm, and even immortal kings dare not break it, that Xianxia Immortal explained smilingly. In a moment I will make the vow and summon the attention of the spirit realm consciousness, and you will see, said that Xianxia Immortal. The atmosphere grew slightly solemn. I, Xianxia, under the witness of the great spirit realm consciousness, hereby swear, that Xianxia Immortal went over the promises related to the spread of martial Tao in detail. After listening, Lin Yuan found no issues, at least that Xianxia Immortal wasn't playing any word games. In fact, the other party couldn't possibly cheat on this matter. Since he wanted to befriend Lin Yuan and was optimistic about Lin Yuan's future potential, the least he could offer was sincerity. A vow on the Tao. As soon as that Xianxia Immortal finished making the vow, Lin Yuan faintly felt a distant and magnificent fluctuation that came through. These fluctuations did not come through the ascension platform but descended from outside the world. The vibration circled around that Xianxia Immortal once, and Lin Yuan had the feeling that should that Xianxia Immortal break the vow, this wisp of vibrations would appear again. The world consciousness of the spirit realm can actually be used like this? Lin Yuan was a bit surprised. Compared to the worlds Lin Yuan had previously traversed, the world consciousness of the spirit realm was in an exceedingly mature state, almost indistinguishable from the heavenly Tao. Young friend, do you feel reassured now? That Xianxia Immortal, sensing the vibrations had dissipated, looked at Lin Yuan with a smiling face. I have another request. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and continued. Chapter 282 Tao Oath, Step into the 7th rank after 200 years, seeking subscriptions, _2. Mu Kinglius' mouth twitched slightly. Daring to negotiate terms with his own ancestor, Lin Yuan was indeed the first. Please speak, young friend. That Xianxia Immortal said nonchalantly. A sacred oath was already established. Any further requests were insignificant. I hope that if the martial Tao cultivation system can give birth to a 6th rank, they should also have the opportunity to ascend to the spirit realm via the ascension platform. Lin Yuan stated. The spirit realm, far surpassing the central divine continent, would allow cultivators of the martial arts evolution system to go there and settle, which would greatly benefit the spread of Lin Yuan's martial Tao. Of course, without Lin Yuan's protection, the spread of the martial arts evolution system in the spirit realm might not go smoothly. But this was just a casual move Lin Yuan had laid out. Success or failure did not matter much. Securing an opportunity for this world's cultivators to ascend to the spirit realm was already a worthy achievement. No problem. That Xianxia Immortal nodded. Allowing the spread of the martial Tao cultivation system, ascending through the ascension platform was naturally not difficult. Subsequently, under Lin Yuan's gaze, that Xianxia Immortal made another sacred oath. After Lin Yuan left, the smile on that Xianxia Immortal's face faded. Ancestor. Mu Qinglu started to speak but hesitated. The conversation between the ancestor and Jun Wuji had issues that even he could perceive. That Xianxia Immortal was simply letting Jun Wuji take advantage of him. You don't understand. That Xianxia Immortal glanced at Mu Qinglu, shook his head and said, such a genius, even in the spirit realm, could shine brilliantly. If he can approach me with requests now, after 1,000 or 10,000 years, I wouldn't even be able to beg him for that. The gaze of the Xianxia Immortal remained calm. After all, for him, there was no significant loss. Even if he let the martial Tao spread, the immortal path still existed. The next leader of the immortal sect will be chosen from the direct descendants of this young friend. The Xianxia Immortal thought for a while, then added. Usually, he did not concern himself with the selection of the leader for the immortal sect of the central divine continent. Because such matters barely caught his interest, but now, involving Jun Wuji, he had to intervene. Yes. Mu Qinglu responded respectfully. At this moment, he also felt that Xianxia ancestors' emphasis on Jun Wuji. Having dispatched that Xianxia Immortal. Aren't they afraid of an irreversible doom? However, these limitations could not constrain the current Lin Yuan. Every time he traversed worlds, it was a descent of consciousness. What is consciousness? It is in essence even more core than the soul. Be it the 6th rank or the 7th rank or even the 8th rank, they all involve the soul, but it's hard for them to affect consciousness. Lin Yuan was clearly dissatisfied with all 12 directions of the 7th rank chapter, yet he still chose one to forcefully break through. Not only because it wouldn't affect his original body, but also because there is a qualitative difference between the 6th and 7th ranks. Even a superficial 7th rank is still 7th rank. Being in this realm, everything he sees, thinks, knows and contemplates, surpasses that of the 6th rank. If Lin Yuan steps into the 7th rank, he can completely look down from a high place and recomprehend the progress from the 6th rank chapter to the 7th rank chapter in the martial path evolutionary path. In the main world, those evolution scholars who possess the power of the 8th or even 9th rank, given such a height, it isn't difficult to establish a tremendously potential 3rd, 4th, and 5th rank evolutionary path. Time slowly passed. 100 years flickered by. Since Lin Yuan and the Taoed Immortal sect's ancestral master of the spirit realm, Xianxia Immortal, reached an agreement. The White Jade Pavilion has seen unprecedented development and even began mutually beneficial cooperation with the Taoed Immortal sect. The Immortal sect leader Mu Qinglu even personally came to Baiyu Island to discuss many matters with Jun Dongjin and Mu Lianer. Mu Qinglu expressed the intention to invite Jun Dongjin to become the next sect leader of the Immortal sect. As for this, Jun Dongjin had little interest. Since his century-long stay at Vast Cliff Mountain, Jun Dongjin had seen through the so-called struggle for power. He liked the environment of Baiyu Island, so he declined Mu Qingliu's invitation. Finally, through final discussions, Jun Xiaoyao was appointed the next sect leader of the Immortal sect. Jun Xiaoyao is Jun Wuji's older brother, closely related by blood, meeting the requirements that Xianxia Immortal had for the next generation sect leader of the Immortal sect. In the far west. This place was more remote than the barbarian wilderness, with almost no spiritual energy, hence it was rarely visited by people, and even vitality-resilient demonic beasts rarely settled in this area. Now, on a large rock, a figure indeed lay there. 7th rank. Did not expect there to be world suppression? Lin Yuan felt somewhat helpless in his heart. Decades ago he had been very close to the 7th rank, but when he tried to break through, he could indeed feel the suppression from nature. No wonder hundreds of thousands of years ago, there were many great beings who surpassed the void refinement limit, but there wasn't a single one in the Tao integration stage. Until the ascension platform appeared, those great beings who ascended to the spirit realm gradually stepped into the Tao integration stage. Lin Yuan sighed. What to do? I don't want to enter the spirit realm through the ascension platform. Lin Yuan fell deep in thought. Not knowing what lay on the other side of the ascension platform, Lin Yuan did not want to take risks with his life. Besides, even if he wanted to enter the spirit realm, Lin Yuan would use the door to the myriad realms, entering the spirit realm through a descent of consciousness. This method would allow perfect integration into the spirit realm without being deliberately targeted. The so-called world suppression is not absolutely insurmountable to break through to the 7th rank. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Over the past decades he had been trying to figure out a method to evade world suppression, and now he had some clues. Take it slow. There's still more than 100 years left. Lin Yuan wasn't in a hurry. As long as he broke through to the 7th rank within the time limit of his stay, it would be sufficient. Time slowly passed. 100 years went by once again. At the edge of the East Sea, the area was still an endless ocean. In theory, no one should come here after all, there is little spiritual energy, and cultivators wouldn't even glance at it. And ordinary people? They couldn't even reach this place. Above the ocean, tsunamis, giant beasts, and many other threats are simply insurmountable for ordinary people. But at this moment a small boat was drifting on the calm sea surface. An inexplicable energy from within the boat began to spread to all directions. Chapter 283 Return, Subscription Request. Taoed Immortal Sect. Sect Master Mu Qinglu stood at the highest point. The current Taoed Immortal Sect. Mu Qinglu silently gazed at the numerous disciples below him. Ever since martial Tao cultivators had been accepted, the sect's disciples had become visibly more relaxed. After all, the entity supporting the martial Tao cultivation system was terrifying. Many disciples were unaware of Lin Yuan's current strength. Just over 300 years ago, Lin Yuan split his being into three and together, had nearly brought Mount Morality Immortal to collapse. That horrific scene still haunted many of the sect's disciples. And now, the Immortal Path and martial Tao were in a state of semi-fusion, and Wuji's older brother, Jun Xiaoyao, was now being groomed as the future sect master. A silver lining in misfortune. Mu Qinglu sighed. In this moment and scene, it was far better than having enraged Wuji, with both sides standing completely opposed. At least, Mu Qinglu didn't dare imagine what that outcome would be like. But, why hasn't Wuji come over yet? The ascension platform is always ready? Mu Qinglu was puzzled. Logically speaking, 200 years ago Wuji's strength had already reached the world's upper limit. According to the ancestral masters of the spirit realm, under the world suppression in Central Divine Continent, one could only endlessly approach the Unity Path stage. As for stepping into the Unity Path stage, there was basically no chance. This had nothing to do with talent, but with the restrictions of heaven and earth. As Mu Qinglu puzzled over this, a deep ancient aura emanated from the end of the East Sea. What is this? Mu Qinglius' pupils narrowed. This aura, while not comparable to that which Lin Yuan broke through 200 years ago, triggering a response from even middling strength cultivators between heaven and earth. Yet, at this moment, Mu Qinglu felt his soul trembling. It was as though the source of this breath was an existence that stood shoulder to shoulder with the entire cosmos. Is it Wuji? Mu Qinglu steadied his spirit and immediately rushed to the deepest part of Immortal Mountain, inside the secret realm where the Ascension platform was placed. Mu Qinglu unhesitatingly activated the Ascension platform and contacted the ancestral masters of the spirit realm. What is the matter exactly? Does the old man need to pay a price just to come down here? A slightly irritable voice transmitted, clearly not that of the previous Xianxia Immortal. As the strongest individual of the Dao Immortal sect in the spirit realm, with cultivation at the late stages of Dao integration, Xianxia Immortal mostly spent his time in secluded cultivation. Only when the continents of the Divine Continent were at a life-or-death juncture would he be informed. After settling the arrangement with Lin Yuan, the Dao Immortal sect essentially had no worries of destruction, which is why Xianxia Immortal no longer continued his supervision. According to Xianxia Immortal's instructions, the next time he was to be contacted would be when Wuji ascended to the spirit realm. Its Xinyan ancestor, Mu Qinglius' heart trembled again. Among the many immortal ancestors in the Dao Immortal sect, Xinyan ancestor was known for his fiery temperament, and historically sect leaders feared dealing with him. After all, a careless mistake could result in punishment from Xinyan ancestor. Though the punishments wouldn't harm the foundation, since they were all descendants of the sect, it would definitely be a bitter experience. Ancestor, it's concerning Wuji, Mu Qinglu immediately said. Wuji. Xinyan ancestor frowned, the junior that Xianxia favors? Although not as powerful as Xianxia, Xinyan ancestor was very close, and 200 years ago, Xianxia Immortal had gathered them together to discuss Wuji and even proclaimed his own Dao oath. Xinyan ancestor was somewhat in disagreement. He didn't believe that a mere junior from the lower realms of Central Divine Continent could potentially ascend to Immortal King. That was an Immortal King. Xinyan ancestor wasn't questioning Xianxia Immortal's judgment. He just felt that perhaps Xianxia Immortal might have overlooked something. That Wuji was not the kind of talent he imagined, who could simply step into the Unity Path stage as easily as eating or drinking water once he ascended to the spirit realm, and possibly reach the realm of an Immortal King. Forget the Immortal King, even in the spirit realm, which was the dominion of giants, how easy could it be to step into the Unity Path stage, also known as the Immortal Realm? Xinyan ancestor was skeptical. Xinyan ancestor was about to speak, questioning precisely what was happening with Wuji, when he too sensed that ancient aura emanating from the end of the East Sea. Is this God merging with the cosmos, someone stepping into the Unity Path stage? Xinyan ancestor's eyes widened. Unity Path stage immortals are considered powerful even in the spirit realm, belonging to the ruling class. Xinyan ancestor had sensed many refined void cultivators' auras when they stepped into the Unity Path stage, thus he was very familiar with such an aura. If it were in the spirit realm, Xinyan ancestor wouldn't find anything unusual. The spirit realm is vast, with a higher world limit, making it perfectly normal for a new Unity Path stage immortal to emerge. But what place is this? It's the lower realms. It's Central Divine Continent. Tens of thousands of years ago, those of them who had surpassed the void refinement limit had already determined that no Unity Path stage could be born in this realm, one could only endlessly approach it. Is that Wuji? Xinyan ancestor turned his head, staring at Mu Qinglu. It should be, Mu Qinglu nodded. This deep and ancient aura had traces of Wuji's aura from before. And within this realm, who else but Wuji could unleash such an aura? Monster, Xinyan ancestor swallowed hard. This was stepping into the Unity Path stage? He had himself ascended to the spirit realm in his time, expending countless heart forces, just to advance to the Unity Path stage, yet a junior from later generations had achieved this so effortlessly? And moreover, in Central Divine Continent, where theoretically it was impossible to give birth to a Unity Path stage in this lower realm. Such talent? Could it be that old guy, Xianxia, underestimated him? Chapter 284 Return, Subscription Request, _2. Xinyan ancestor's thoughts surged. Below the spirit realm, there are a million lower realms just like the central divine China world. But since ancient times, no lower realm had ever produced a cultivator who ascended during the Tao integration period. This was too inconceivable. Ancestor, what should we do now? Mu Qinglu asked in a low voice. What should we do? Xinyan ancestor glanced at Mu Qinglu. What else can we do? If it had been before Lin Yuan had broken through to the Tao integration period, Xinyan ancestor still had confidence that, with this projection, he could manage wrist to wrist with him. But now, the opponent's strength almost caught up to his own true self in the spirit realm. What wrist was there to manage? Wasn't that just humiliating oneself? However, breaking through to the Tao integration period enables one to survive in the chaotic void flows. Central divine China world, being a lower realm under the spirit realm, merely requires breaking through this realm. With the strength of the Tao integration period, one can completely follow the chaotic void flows and enter the spirit realm. Xinyan ancestor quietly thought to himself. Ancient saints of the nether refinement period don't have the ability to survive in the chaotic void flows, so if they desire to enter the spirit realm, they must pass through the ascension platform and ascend via a stable spatial channel. But for those at the Tao integration stage, this isn't really necessary. With the strength of a Tao integration stage immortal, one can actively travel to the spirit realm. The spirit realm is situated above the world of central divine China, and Tao integration stage immortals can easily sense the aura of the spirit realm. This is the 7th rank. At the ends of the East Sea, on the tranquil surface of the sea, a smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. At this moment, his aura was subdued, but he could easily tear open spatial rifts. The suppression of heaven and earth is just like that. Lin Yuan's mind was delighted. This world suppressed the breakthrough from refined void to Tao integration. That is, from the 6th rank to the 7th rank. Even the strongest individuals could only come infinitely close to the Tao integration stage. But with Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding, he soon thought of a method to step into the Tao integration stage. That was to separate his true self from the Yin spirit and Yang spirit. True self, Yin spirit, and Yang spirit all cultivate to infinitesimally close to the Tao integration period. Then the three recombine and their powers merge and stack. Quantitative changes cause qualitative changes, ultimately forcing a breakthrough into the 7th rank. Such a wonderful feeling. Lin Yuan closed his eyes, sinking into some deep immersion. After stepping into the 7th rank, Lin Yuan's realm rose higher, and his perception of everything far surpassed that of the 6th rank. The same leaf, viewed while at the 6th rank and the 7th rank, brings very different experiences, not to mention all things under heaven and earth. Against heaven's understanding is also like this, depending on the height of Lin Yuan's standing. Had Lin Yuan been just a common person, the most he could have devised would have been martial Tao skills of the 1st or 2nd rank. But now, Lin Yuan was equivalent to an immortal of the spirit realm, and the essence of all things in the world was slowly unfolding before him. Continuing to immerse for a moment, Lin Yuan opened his eyes. This time I chose to break through to the 7th rank, leaning towards immortal path, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The Taoist immortal scripture had been of great help to him, providing 4 additional 7th rank directions, all affected by the immortal cultivation system. Indeed, it's not the 7th rank I desired. After stepping into the 7th rank and sensing many fine details, Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. If it were other path-opening powerhouses, they would now only be able to grit their teeth and continue cultivating forward. Even if dissatisfied, what could they do? Once truly stepping into this realm, both physical body and soul would transform towards this direction with no way back. But for Lin Yuan, he had the means to return to the main world, able to abandon everything about traversing worlds and return to his own body, bringing back only memories and realm. In the past, this approach was more disadvantages than advantages. After all, laboriously cultivating and traversing worlds for decades or even centuries, only to not bring back any strength? But now, this was Lin Yuan's biggest confidence in exploring the paths of the 7th rank. As long as the path is right, the direction is right, what is power? The main world isn't lacking in treasures that accumulate power. After all, having more power also requires the ability to wield it. Temporarily not continuing the cultivation beyond the 7th rank, fully comprehend the paths from the 6th to the 7th rank. Lin Yuan stopped perceiving, the direction he now stood on wasn't one he was satisfied with, continuing to cultivate and explore was meaningless. However, Lin Yuan seemed to think of something, raised his right hand and lightly swiped at the air in front of him. A tear was ripped open, revealing the gray and turbid chaotic void flows inside. Breaking the void? A hint of unusual color appeared on Lin Yuan's face. With my current strength, I could actually survive in the chaotic void flows. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, then stretched his hand into the spatial rift. Soon he pulled it back and found that there weren't any injuries on his arm. The aura of the spirit realm. Lin Yuan continued to sense the spatial rift he had torn open. At immeasurable heights, a vast world like a grand sun released boundless aura. Lin Yuan, having seen the ascension platform through the spirit realm, confirmed that this aura matched that of the ascension platform. Still 40 years of residency time. Lin Yuan glanced at the ethereal font displayed below. Baiyu Island. 200 years had passed. Most of the White Jade Pavilion had already relocated to the central Divine Continent, where the cultivation environment was much more superior, including the 72 heavenly caves and 108 blessed lands. Now, the number of White Jade Pavilion disciples remaining on Baiyu Island wasn't large. In the core area of Baiyu Island, Lin Yuan's figure appeared. Wuji, how have you come back? Mu Lianer was sitting there chatting with Jun Dongjin when she suddenly saw Lin Yuan and immediately stood up. Wuji. Jun Dongjin also stood up, looking at Lin Yuan, his tone somewhat emotional. He had never expected that his youngest son would achieve such great feats, even making the ancestral masters of the spirit realm from the Dao Immortal sect yield. I just came back to see. Lin Yuan nodded. This would probably be his last visit to Baiyu Island. With only 40 years left to stay, his plan for the first 10 years was to continue traveling the world, and afterwards he planned to attempt leaving this realm to explore the chaotic void beyond the realms. During his time in the Divine Arms world, Lin Yuan had faced spatial rifts, and even with his against heaven's understanding, his comprehension was not very good. But now being at the 7th rank, his perspective on the chaotic void within the spatial rifts had many flashes of spiritual light. This was the difference brought about by varying strengths and the heights from which they stood. Afterward, Lin Yuan chatted with his parents for a while. Wuji, Mu Lianer felt vaguely sad, sensing that the number of times she would see Wuji may not be many. These are 2 sets of resources for breakthrough to the refined void period. With a thought from Lin Yuan, 2 storage rings appeared in front of him. Over the years, Lin Yuan had traveled the world, reaching the heavens and plumbing the depths, naturally finding quite a few treasures. Those treasures and resources were of no use to Lin Yuan anymore but had been collected, and now was the perfect time to give them to his parents. With these resources, breaking through to the refined void period should be no problem. Then Mom and Dad, you can use the ascension platform of the Dao Immortal sect to enter the spirit realm. Lin Yuan spoke. His eldest brother, Jun Xiaoyao, was already being groomed as the next sect master of the Dao Immortal sect, and his breakthrough to the refined void period should be no problem. And for his second sister, Lin Yuan had also left a set of resources for her to break through to the refined void period. This was the last thing Lin Yuan could do. Wuji, Jun Dongjin wanted to say something but hesitated. He always felt that his youngest son was preparing for his later affairs. But with Wuji's strength, who could make him prepare for such matters? Wuji, are you preparing to ascend to the spirit realm? Jun Dongjin tentatively asked. Somewhat. Lin Yuan nodded. His ascension was not meant for the spirit realm but rather for the even vaster main world. Time passed. Another decade went by. The northernmost peak. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. I've wandered around a few more times. There's nothing left to see. Lin Yuan lifted his right hand and gently swept through the air in front of him. Slip. A several-meter-long spatial rift appeared. Lin Yuan gazed into the spatial rift. Your understanding is against heaven, observing the chaotic void, deepening your comprehension of the essence of space. Your understanding is against heaven, observing the chaotic void, deepening your comprehension of the essence of space. Your understanding is against heaven, observing the chaotic void, continuing to refine the martial arts evolution system. Outside the central divine China world, Lin Yuan's figure appeared. The terrifying chaotic void streams, upon reaching within several meters of Lin Yuan, all dissipated. So this is space? Violent, sharp, destroying everything? Lin Yuan felt somewhat shocked. Within the world, space is stable, orderly, and capable of nurturing abundant life. But outside of the world, space is filled with extreme destructive power. This contrast between what was before and after deepened Lin Yuan's understanding of the power of space. Just like that, Lin Yuan drifted alone within the chaotic void outside of the world. Until 30 years later. Deep within his mind, the door to the myriad realms shone brightly. Chapter 285 Gains, Upload, The Conclusion of the Heiyu Family, please subscribe. Chiquan Main Star. Deep within the 13 peaks in the palace, Lin Yuan slowly opened his eyes. Finally back. Looking around at the familiar scene, Lin Yuan let out a sigh of relief. The 500 years in the Central Earth world had a significant impact on Lin Yuan, especially the last step into the 7th rank realm, even if it wasn't the 7th rank that Lin Yuan desired. But it let Lin Yuan witness scenes he had never been able to access before. The higher one stands, the farther and wider one sees. I hope this backup plan will never be needed, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Before leaving, Lin Yuan had made a special trip back to the Central Divine Continent, and had carefully placed his physical body in a secret location. Only then did his consciousness return. The purpose of this action was to ensure that if he ever returned to the Central Earth world one day, he could directly take over the body he had left behind and grasp the world's strongest power at the fastest speed. After breaking through to the 6th rank, more functions of the door to the myriad realms appeared, including the ability to return to worlds he had previously traversed. But even if he were to return, Lin Yuan would choose consciousness descent, because to move the physical body is both risky and consumes more world-breaking origin force. With consciousness descent, one can only start from the beginning of cultivation. Regardless of how high one's realm is, it will require time to progress step by step. But with his body left behind, everything becomes simple. One merely needs to detach the consciousness, enter the body, and then regain the strongest power in the Central Earth world. Of course, although he had left this backup plan, Lin Yuan did not wish for it to be used. Because that would mean something unpredictable had happened in the Central Earth world, posing a danger that could overturn the martial Tao cultivation system. Descending again into the Central Earth world requires the expenditure of 10 strands of world-breaking origin force. Unless absolutely necessary, Lin Yuan wouldn't choose to do this. The spirit realm, Lin Yuan's expression fell into brief contemplation. In the last 30 years of his stay, Lin Yuan roamed alone in the space-time chaos outside the world, and had also gazed at the enormous spirit realm located above from a distance. It was an entity far surpassing the Central Earth world, and the myriad auras it emitted fell like radiation, firmly locking down millions of lower realms including the Central Earth world. It's a pity ascending directly to the spirit realm is still too risky. There's no need to do that, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The spirit realm's world hierarchy is very high, this is unquestionable, where there are beings comparable to the 8th layer of the main world, Immortal King-level powerhouses, and even existences beyond the Immortal King level. If Lin Yuan were to enter the spirit realm as a Dao integration stage ascender, he would certainly attract a lot of attention. In such a situation, even if Lin Yuan were only a consciousness descent, unafraid of death, he could not guarantee absolute safety. In front of those true powerhouses, even if Lin Yuan wanted to die, it wouldn't necessarily be possible. He could be subjected to soul search and risk exposing information about the main world. Furthermore, the reason Lin Yuan hadn't entered the spirit realm through the Ascension platform was virtually the same. The Azure ancestor from the Dao Immortal sect, although bound by a Dao oath in front of him, would still be a cause for concern should Lin Yuan truly ascend to the spirit realm and fall into the hands of those Dao integration immortals. Unforeseen incidents could occur. Lin Yuan has never allowed himself to be in a passive position. Besides, with the coordinates of the spirit realm, Lin Yuan could enter unnoticeably, without having to take risks. At least, as long as he has not entered the spirit realm through the Ascension platform, the martial Tao cultivation system of the Central Earth world is unlikely to be suppressed. At least the Immortal sect's ancestors from the upper worlds will be wary of the possibility of Lin Yuan suddenly appearing. Forget about these things. Lin Yuan collected his thoughts and no longer focused on the affairs of the Central Divine China world. Now that he had left, it was pointless to think too much. Regarding the gains from this transference, Lin Yuan was in a good mood. In 500 years in the Central Earth world, not only had Lin Yuan reached the pinnacle of the 6th rank, but he had also fully explored a path to the 7th rank. One must know. Evolvers in the main world striving to step into the 7th rank often paid an unknown price, evolving their own paths, achieving flesh-soul perfection and so on. Members of the Red Kuan lineage, the 4th, 5th, 6th, to the 12th disciples of the Chiquan Star Lord, were all true evolution geniuses, plus they had the guidance of the Star Lord but were still stuck at the 6th rank. Is it because these brothers are not capable? Not at all, but the difficulty of stepping from the 6th rank into the 7th rank is immense. This transition is a metamorphosis of the essence of life, which is even more challenging than the leap from the 5th rank to the 6th rank. Lin Yuan deeply understood this. after forcibly stepping into the 7th rank, he too felt the gap between realms. Space. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. In the last few decades of the 5th transference, Lin Yuan's insight into space soared like a rocket. In the space-time chaos, Lin Yuan saw another side of space, one filled with destruction, and compared it with the calm, stable and orderly space of the main world. Under the contemplation of Against Heaven's understanding, Lin Yuan reached directly to the essence of space. It can be said that this transference brought Lin Yuan greater gains in the aspect of space rules than stepping into the 7th rank. I can feel that the 7th rank martial Tao I desire relates to space rules, but I still haven't devised a satisfactory 7th rank chapter because my understanding of space rules is not deep enough, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Space rules are vast and are the underlying rules supporting the world. The more Lin Yuan comprehends, the more he feels his insignificance in the realm of space rules. If before Lin Yuan was looking at the sky through the opening of a well, that was space rules, then now Lin Yuan had climbed out of the well to see an even more boundless expanse of the sky. Chapter 286 Harvest, Upload, The End of the Heiyu Family, please subscribe. _2. Ponder slowly. Am not in a hurry. Lin Yuan thought for a while and said, although I have not comprehended the perfect 7th stage martial Tao chapter, the 6th stage chapter is almost ready. I might as well organize it and upload it to the Goddess of Wisdom. Lin Yuan rubbed his forehead. The 6th stage martial Tao chapter incorporated the deep excavation of the physical body by the body cultivation lineage. Theoretically, an evolver who cultivated to the 6th stage martial Tao had the potential to give birth to a physical body divine ability. Of course, which physical body divine ability would emerge depended entirely on the fragments of divine skills deep within one's own bloodline. But no matter what, even if it was just an auxiliary physical body divine ability, it would be very useful to an evolver. Unlike secret techniques, invoking divine skills didn't require any specific conditions. One could activate them with just a thought. Blood rebirth. The breath within Lin Yuan's body began to change as streams of blood interwove and clashed, vaguely forming a mysterious pattern. It was the blood divine skill that Lin Yuan had comprehended in the Central Earth world after paying a huge price, and then deduced according to the physical body of the main world. This technique was only applicable to Lin Yuan. Even if someone else acquired it, they wouldn't be able to form the technique imprint. Strictly speaking, can this physical body of mine also condense a new physical body divine ability? Lin Yuan pondered to himself. After all, the primordial spirit of his current body was just at the beginning of the 6th rank. If he completed the 6th rank chapter he had developed, it would naturally give birth to a new physical body divine ability. He'll try it later. First, he'll organize the 6th rank chapter and upload it. Lin Yuan was not in a hurry. A day or two later Lin Yuan had mostly organized the 6th stage martial Tao chapter, making it more suitable for the human race of the main world. He then connected to the Goddess of Wisdom. Respected citizen Lin Yuan, the Goddess of Wisdom is pleased to serve you. The solemn and cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. I want to upload the 6th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path. Having said that, Lin Yuan began uploading the content of the 6th rank chapter. Citizen Lin Yuan, please wait, the Goddess of Wisdom is making a full assessment. The Goddess of Wisdom received the 6th stage martial Tao chapter and immediately began the assessment. Actually, the Immortal cultivation system has never appeared in the main world before. Lin Yuan seemed to have thought of something. He could definitely upload the Immortal cultivation system to the Goddess of Wisdom in exchange for rewards. But Lin Yuan thought for a while and gave up that idea. The Immortal cultivation system was surely established by some other entity. If he were to spread it in the main world, wouldn't he be assisting the entity that created the Immortal Path system? Spreading one's own evolutionary path or cultivation system was related to the ultimate leap. In this regard, Lin Yuan naturally didn't want to labor in vain. Besides, the Immortal cultivation system might have a high ceiling, reaching the 7th rank, 8th rank, or even the 9th rank. But it came with great limitations such as the need for spiritual energy or a spirit root. In the main world's cosmic starry sky, many forms of energy were diffused, but those similar to spiritual energy were not plentiful. The most crucial point was still the spirit root. At least according to Lin Yuan's knowledge, the human race in the main world did not possess such a concept. If Lin Yuan were to upload the Immortal cultivation system, the first thing he would need to do would be to adapt the Immortal cultivation system to fit the human race of the main world. That meant he would have to deduce an alternative to the spirit root. The cost of this was too great. with the time and effort, Lin Yuan would rather continue to comprehend the martial arts evolution system, elevating it to the next level, which was far more worthwhile than the former. While waiting for the final assessment from the Goddess of Wisdom, Lin Yuan began to check other information. While 500 years had passed in the Central Earth world, only just under 4 months had gone by in the main world. Lin Yuan pulled up the record of events and gave it a cursory look. Wanyang Holy Sun. Lin Yuan noted that Wanyang Holy Sun sent him a message a month ago. The general idea was he had already broken through to the 6th rank, and hoped to spar with Lin Yuan again. Wanyang Holy Sun, a rare owner of the 9-yang divine meridian and who had spent a century sleeping in the depths of a star, had very profound foundations that could only truly manifest at the 6th rank. At the peak of the 5th rank, Lin Yuan had fought with Wanyang Holy Sun and ultimately crushed him. Wanyang Holy Sun still remembered this incident to this day. He was aware that Lin Yuan's path of evolution was special, with perfect soul fusion, which greatly enhanced his combat power. However, at the 6th rank, it wasn't just the evolutionary path that mattered, but also one's physical constitution and foundations. After his breakthrough to the 6th rank, Wanyang Holy Sun felt a qualitative change in his strength, regained confidence, and wanted to find Lin Yuan for a rematch to wash away his past shame. He had never defeated Lin Yuan, but at least he shouldn't be overwhelmed like before, allowing Lin Yuan to make him admit defeat with just a few slaps. To spar with me? Lin Yuan suddenly fell silent. In Wanyang Holy Sun's eyes, Lin Yuan had just stepped into the 6th stage martial Tao, so he felt confident in challenging him. But in reality, Lin Yuan at this moment had already reached the pinnacle of 6th stage martial Tao, and even embarked on a path towards the 7th stage. The gap between him and Wanyang Holy Sun was far greater than when they were both at the pinnacle of the 5th stage martial Tao, by countless times. At the pinnacle of the 5th stage martial Tao, Wanyang Holy Sun could still withstand a few slaps from Lin Yuan. But now, forget it. There's no need to waste time. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. With his current strength, sparring with Wanyang Holy Sun was simply bullying. He had sparred with Wanyang Holy Sun before because he could gain insights during the process of sparring from the other party. Now the gap between them was too great and there was no comparability. After replying to Wanyang Holy Sun with, "I don't have time recently," Lin Yuan continued browsing through the subsequent messages. The Heiyu family. Lin Yuan saw several messages his senior brothers had sent him. Because he had instructed them to enter seclusion before shuttling through space, his senior brothers just left him messages. The Heiyu family colluded with different species? Lin Yuan's expression became strange. Before revealing his identity as Peak Master Shirsan, Lin Yuan had some conflicts with Heiyu Ao of the Heiyu family. Subsequently, Heiyu Ao had used the influence of the Heiyu family to suppress Lin Yuan. After Lin Yuan broke through to the 6th stage and revealed his identity, the Heiyu family became fearful, with Heiyu Mo bringing Heiyu Ao personally to the Chikuan main star to see him, hoping to apologize. But at the time Lin Yuan was busy embedding his life mark into the cosmic starry skies and did not bother with them. Later, when his senior brothers asked for Lin Yuan's opinion, Lin Yuan stated that he did not intend to make amends with the Heiyu family. With Lin Yuan's word, his senior brothers had a plan in mind, intending to oppress the Heiyu family through various means and completely cause their downfall. This was the fate of offending a peak master of the Chikuan lineage. Even the Chikuan star domain's top 5 forces were essentially dogs raised by the Chikuan lineage, and while other matters can be discussed, if they dared to bite their master, they wouldn't have a reason to exist. Originally, according to the second senior brother's intention, it was to harass the Heiyu family and conduct a thorough investigation. After all, a force like the Heiyu family that had been established for hundreds of thousands of years couldn't withstand close scrutiny. They could find an excuse anytime. Out of respect for Lin Yuan, the second senior brother personally took charge of the investigation into the Heiyu family. However, upon investigation, the second senior brother discovered an issue. The Heiyu family was suspected of having had contacts with a different species. The second brother had not found concrete evidence of the Heiyu family's contacts with different species. But some things don't require evidence. Once the second brother discovered this, he immediately planned to take control of Heiyu Mo. In any case, he planned to take away Heiyu Mo, the highest authority of the Heiyu family, first. To be cautious, the second brother secretly contacted the Chikuan Star Lord. Under the watchful eyes of the Chikuan Star Lord, Heiyu Mo had no room to resist. After being taken away, he was subjected to a soul search by the Human Alliance's specialized 8th layer evolver in soul abilities. For a strong individual like Mo, who could control his own memories, ordinary soul searches were useless. But an 8th layer evolver in soul abilities could construct a vast, illusory world where all memories from Mo's life would unfold within that phony realm. Such a method could only be performed by an 8th layer evolver in soul abilities, and such powerful beings were extremely rare. The Heyu family is finished. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. If they had only offended him, the Heyu family would be merely declining and could gracefully exit the stage. After all, the laws of the human alliance still stood, and it wasn't possible to let such a large family succumb to mishap. Lin Yuan's senior brothers, in dealing with the Heyu family, only took actions that were investigative and adhered to the alliance's legal provisions. But colluding with a different species, that was tantamount to betraying the human alliance. Regardless of whether the other clansmen of the Heyu family knew or not, they were finished. While Lin Yuan was reflecting on this, a solemn and cold voice came through. Respected 6th rank citizen Lin Yuan, the 6th rank chapter you uploaded has been judged as complete. The voice of the goddess of wisdom rang out. Chapter 287 Chapter 287. Chapter 2 Chikuan Star Lord. Good disciple, your question is a bit beyond the scope. Please subscribe. Judgment complete? A smile spread across Lin Yuan's face. Each time he returned, he immediately uploaded the subsequent chapters of the newly pioneered Martial Tao Evolution Path to the Goddess of Wisdom. Aside from receiving a bounty of merit points and better dissemination of the Martial Tao Evolution Path, it was to take advantage of the Goddess of Wisdom's immense computational power to see the potential of the submitted chapters. The potential of an evolution path involves various aspects and is very difficult to estimate. Even the Goddess of Wisdom and the other 2 goddesses can only deduce it approximately. But that was enough. Among the vast ocean of evolution paths collected by the Cosmic Human Alliance, the final judgments made by the Goddess of Wisdom and the other 2 goddesses still carry significant reference value. In simple terms, if the Goddess of Wisdom judges the potential of an evolution path to be low, it might not be accurate, but if the Goddess of Wisdom determines the potential of an evolution path to be high, it is certainly not far off. Respected 6th level citizen Lin Yuan, based on the final judgment, the Martial Tao Evolution Path 6th tier chapter you uploaded is valued at 400,000 merit points. 400,000 merit points? Lin Yuan was quite satisfied in his heart. The last update of the Martial Tao Evolution Path, which involved a comprehensive re-upload after perfecting the 2nd layer chapter, 3rd tier chapter, 4th rank chapter and 5th stage section, had garnered a reward of only 500,000 merit points. This time, just for uploading the 6th tier chapter, the value reached 400,000 merit points, which was already very high. One must know 400,000 merit points were equivalent to the value of slaying almost half an 8th layer alien strong one. On the battlefields of different races, killing an 8th rank alien strong ones usually yielded a merit point reward of only 1 million. And were 8th layer alien strong ones so easy to kill? Defeating one might be possible, but slaying one was as difficult as ascending to heaven. 8th rank alien strong ones are the foundation of the various races, and most have life-saving cards. The Chikuan Star Lord, who is as strong as they come, struggles to kill an 8th rank alien on the alien race battlefield. And those 8th rank alien strong ones are not fools, they will definitely flee if they find themselves unable to win. To go from a 6th level citizen to a 7th level citizen requires 2 million merit points. Lin Yuan glanced at the merit point requirement for the next citizen level upgrade and shook his head. 2 million merit points? It was an astronomical figure. Not just for other evolvers, even Lin Yuan felt a tingling in his scalp. A typical 7th rank evolver might sit on the battlefield of different races for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years without being able to accumulate such a massive amount of merit points. The battlefield of different species is extremely dangerous, with human race evolvers fighting alien strong ones, constantly at risk of losing their lives. Although, evolvers of the 6th rank and above have the right to resurrection, if you don't have potential, who would resurrect you? Most 6th rank and 7th rank evolvers, once dead, are truly dead. Forget it. Lin Yuan had no plans on becoming a 7th level citizen in the short term, probably not until he could create the Martial Tao Evolution Path 7th stage before he could meet the requirement of becoming a 7th level citizen. Let's see the latest evaluation of the martial arts evolution system. Lin Yuan began to flip through the information related to the Martial Tao Evolution Path. Every time the Goddess of Wisdom reassessed the Martial Tao Evolution Path, she would update Lin Yuan's data first. As for other citizens or evolvers, They had to wait until the rankings update at dawn to see any updated changes to the martial Tao evolution path. The probability of advancing to the 7th rank is 60%. The probability of advancing to the 9th rank evolution path is 20%. Not bad, Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Before uploading the 6th rank chapter, the probability of the martial Tao evolution path advancing to the 7th rank was only 30%. The probability of reaching the 9th rank was only 10%. Now both have doubled. Especially the fact that there is a 20% chance of advancing to the 8th rank. One must know, whether a new 8th rank evolution path is opened is a key judgment for the cosmic alliance of human civilizations in determining if one can become a great scholar of evolution. Now, the martial Tao evolution path has a 20% chance of advancing to the 8th rank. Its potential is extremely tremendous. The 9th stage evolution path. Lin Yuan's thoughts drifted. So far the martial Tao evolution path had no chance of advancing to the 9th rank. Now, where would the martial Tao evolution path rank on the Qikuan evolution rankings? Lin Yuan continued to view the updated martial Tao evolution path, opening the rankings section. Ranked 1st on the Kanglin evolution ranking. Ranked 6th on the Qikuan evolution rankings. 6th. Lin Yuan's heart stirred. After the last perfection of the martial Tao evolution path, once it was no longer limited to Taiyin and Taiyang, it broke into the 12th spot on the Qikuan evolution rankings. Now the uploaded 6th tier chapter has directly broken into the 6th place. One must know that the evolution paths in the top 10 of the Qikuan evolution rankings are all 7th rank evolution paths with hopes of ascending to the 8th rank. And the top 3 evolution paths of the Qikuan evolution rankings are all 8th rank evolution paths. Over the hundreds of thousands to millions of years of Qikuan star domain's history, only 3 great scholars of evolution have been born. And these 3 8th rank evolution paths have all come from the hands of these great scholars. The number of great scholars is far rarer than that of 8th rank evolvers. Having seen the ranking of the martial Tao evolution path, Lin Yuan glanced at the approximate number of evolvers currently practicing the martial Tao evolution path. 1st tier chapter, 97,323 people. 2nd layer chapter, 32,600 people. 3rd rank chapter, 136 people. 4th rank chapter, 0 people. Not bad. In just over a year, the number of evolvers in the 1st tier and 2nd layer chapters has grown 2 to 3 times. And more than 100 evolvers have started practicing the 3rd rank chapter. Chapter 288 Chapter 288, Chapter 2 Qikuan Star Lord. My dear disciple, your question is a bit beyond the scope. Please subscribe, _2. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. In the central divine China world, after hundreds of years of development, and with his personal guidance, there were only that many martial Dao cultivators. However, in the main world, in just a few years, the number of martial arts evolutionaries had reached such a scale. In terms of growth speed, the main world far exceeded the central divine China world. Lin Yuan wasn't surprised by this, as the external conditions for cultivating were definitely better in the main world than in the central Earth world. After all kinds of high technology and the existence of high-rank evolvers made the act of cultivating quite simple. In addition, Lin Yuan's perfection of the martial path evolutionary path and the Qikuan evolution rankings reaching the 12th place were also significant factors in the explosive growth in the number of martial arts evolutionaries. It's still too few. Need to speed it up a bit. After considering for a while, Lin Yuan decided to record a video to specifically discuss issues regarding martial Dao cultivation. He had wanted to do this for a long time but had never had the time. Now that he had finished his journey through the worlds, he could start on this task. As the founder of the martial path evolutionary path, Lin Yuan's understanding of the martial Dao was unquestionably the best in the main world. His cultivation analysis videos would have an effect on other martial arts evolutionaries similar to an enlightenment. In the Qikuan Prime Virtual World, Central Plaza area, numerous evolvers gathered here, and within the human alliance, most evolvers as well as higher-level citizens lived leisurely. The strength of human civilization and victory in wars against outsiders benefited all of the human race. The 12th place in the Qikuan evolution rankings. Just a 5th rank evolution path is enough to reach 12th place. If it were to advance to the 6th rank evolution path, what then? Ever since the martial path evolutionary path appeared in the Qikuan evolution rankings, the topics discussed in the Central Plaza area mostly revolved around the martial path evolutionary path. It couldn't be helped. Compared to other evolution paths that hadn't budged in hundreds of years, the martial path evolutionary path was extravagantly exaggerated. It was hard not to pay attention. A 6th rank evolutionary path? That can't be so easy, can it? Even for Scholar Yuan, developing the 6th rank chapter of the current martial path evolutionary path would take some deep contemplation, wouldn't it? An evolver couldn't help but speak out. The potential of the martial path evolutionary path was now too high, and correspondingly, the difficulty of developing the 6th rank chapter was extraordinarily tough. The higher one went, the more difficult it became to advance further. For Scholar Yuan, developing the 6th rank chapter of an evolution path was not a difficult task. But that referred to ordinary 5th rank evolution paths. Was the current martial path evolutionary path still considered an ordinary 5th rank evolution path? To develop the 6th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path without compromising standards likely was more difficult than developing the 7th rank chapter of other evolution paths. That's not necessarily true. Another evolver joined the conversation. He had watched the ranking rise of the martial path evolutionary path, and it had all been in plain sight. Every time before the martial path evolutionary path's ranking improved, there was a whole bunch of people shouting that it was absolutely impossible. But in the end, didn't they all get a slap in the face? So now, many evolvers had become wise and would not prematurely state their opinions, to avoid getting a slap in the face. However, to be fair, developing the 6th rank chapter is not an easy task. The starting point of the martial Dao is now too high. A few evolvers, after observing for a while, couldn't help but speak up. Just then the time had reached the early morning. The rankings in the Qikuan evolution rankings began to update. The names of 100 evolution paths blurred for a moment, then quickly became clear. Holy shit. An evolver lost control of his emotions. Other evolvers looked up, their expressions extremely complicated, with shock, with inevitability, with disbelief, with how could it be? Because the martial path evolutionary path, formerly ranked 12th, had disappeared. In its place was the evolution path that had been ranked 11th. As for the martial path evolutionary path, it had moved into the top 10, to be precise, the 6th place. Breaking into the top 10? And it's the 6th? That's too quick. Has the 6th rank chapter been updated? The numerous evolvers started discussing in low voices. Most of the evolvers, having experienced the previous leaps of the martial path evolutionary path, had already become somewhat immune. But there were still some newcomers among the evolvers, their faces full of shock, as this was a change in the top 10 rankings of the Qikuan evolution rankings. Let me see what qualitative changes Scholar Yuan's 6th rank chapter involves. An evolver immediately purchased the contents of the 6th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path. Before posting the 6th rank chapter, Lin Yuan priced this chapter at 50 billion. However, to many powerful evolvers, 50 billion was trivial. The potential of the martial path evolutionary path was so great that spending 50 billion to purchase the 6th rank chapter was completely worth it. Perhaps through this 6th rank chapter, they could have a breakthrough in their own cultivated evolution path, something that no amount of civilization currency could buy. The 6th rank chapter, in addition to the life metamorphosis and significant enhancements to the physical body, primordial spirit, and soul, also explores the physical body to a deeper extent and holds the promise of giving birth to physical body divine skills. Physical body divine skills? Can we, the human race, also have such talents like those different species? So that's how it is. Deep within human bloodlines, there are many pieces of information and abilities. These informational abilities are extremely rare, and theoretically they should never manifest. But the 6th rank chapter of Martial Dao actually uses some special method to amplify the information abilities deep within the bloodline. This is too incredible. Chapter 289 Chapter 289 Chapter 2 Qikuan Star Lord. My good disciple, your question is a bit beyond the scope. Please subscribe. _3. I remember that there were several evolutionary scholars who specialized in studying the power inherited deep within the human bloodline. The conclusion at the time was that it was only possible to stimulate this power using a bloodline concentration potion. But it carries significant risks and is highly valuable, so it cannot be popularized. But the 6th rank Martial Tao chapter. Many evolvers were abuzz with discussion. They were clearly very interested in the physical body divine ability. This power comes from deep within the bloodline of the physical body. Everyone's physical body divine ability is different and has a high degree of randomness. I've decided. I'm going to switch to the Martial Tao cultivation system. Not for anything else, but for this physical body divine ability. a 5th rank evolver stood up and said earnestly. As long as one is not yet 6th rank, they can switch to another evolution path at a certain cost. Of course. The cost here is substantial. Perhaps it's the accumulation of hundreds or thousands of years of wealth by 4th or 5th rank evolvers. Still, many evolvers decided to switch to the martial path evolutionary path. After all, following the potential shown by the current martial path evolutionary path, joining in couldn't be a mistake. Lin Yuan had recently emerged from seclusion. After briefly acclimating, he went to apply for red spirit fluid to recover his strength. Although Lin Yuan still had his doubts about reaching 7th rank, first recovering to the 6th rank limit and seeing which physical body divine ability he would manifest was still possible. 13 Peaks Master. The red spirit fluid will be delivered to you in 1 hour. Good disciple, after 4 months of seclusion, you should have stabilized your 6th rank realm by now. Come here now, tell me the problems you've encountered during your cultivation period, and your teacher can still provide some answers. Just then, Qikuan Star Lord sent a message to Lin Yuan. Throughout Lin Yuan's traversal period, he had remained deep within the 13 Peaks Palace, claiming to be in seclusion. This was not a secret, and Qikuan Star Lord naturally knew about it. Now that Lin Yuan had emerged from seclusion, and even chatted with some of his senior brothers, Qikuan Star Lord also knew. Yes, Lin Yuan immediately replied. Lin Yuan had a great deal of respect for Qikuan Star Lord. Not only because of the Star Lord's strength but also because the Star Lord truly treated Lin Yuan well. Lin Yuan arrived at the Crimson Palace where Qikuan Star Lord resided. Qikuan Star Lord sat high on his throne, looking at Lin Yuan with an approving gaze. Since Lin Yuan arrived at Qikuan Main Star, he had done nothing but enter a half-year's seclusion first. This act of eagerly cultivating was very much to Qikuan Star Lord's liking. Teacher. Lin Yuan bowed slightly towards Qikuan Star Lord. Get up, Qikuan Star Lord hurriedly said. Have you encountered any problems in your cultivation? Qikuan Star Lord eagerly said. Problems in cultivation. Lin Yuan's heart stirred. He truly had hit a bottleneck in his comprehension of the space rules. In this regard, he could indeed seek advice from Qikuan Star Lord. The true form of Qikuan Star Lord was the Starry Sky Wanderer Kuan. The Starry Sky Wanderer Kuan could devour everything and were favored by the space rules of the universe. Every Starry Sky Wanderer Kun's comprehension of the space rules was extremely high, a talent they possessed. Qikuan Star Lord must have a profound understanding of the space rules. Teacher. I indeed have issues in my cultivation, Lin Yuan said immediately. Good, disciple, speak, Qikuan Star Lord said with great joy upon hearing this. Lin Yuan's talents were so extraordinary that since he became a disciple, Qikuan Star Lord had hardly ever given him serious guidance. Finally, an opportunity had arisen. It's like this, Lin Yuan thought for a moment. Recently, I've been contemplating the 965 models of the space rules. Lin Yuan lifted his right hand, his mind moved slightly, streams of space power converged at his fingertips like kittens, forming various model patterns. There were cube shapes, two-dimensional space shapes, bizarre black hole shapes, paper-thin shapes. Streams of space power interwove in front of Lin Yuan and stopped as they formed the 876th model. Teacher, the 876th model of the space rules, I am still somewhat confused. Lin Yuan looked up at Qikuan Star Lord who was sitting high on the throne. 965 models of the space rules? Qikuan Star Lord's lips twitched slightly. Weren't those what 7th rank evolvers started to contemplate? Had Lin Yuan, who had just entered the 6th rank, already begun to contemplate them? And he had also completed most of them. Many 7th rank evolvers couldn't even reach the level of understanding the first 800 models. Qikuan Star Lord carefully observed the interweaving space power in front of Lin Yuan, then looked at Lin Yuan, back at the constantly intertwining space power, and once more at Lin Yuan. Good disciple, this confusion of yours? Qikuan Star Lord thought for a moment and hesitated to speak. Chapter 290. Oh no, am I going to be surpassed by my disciple? Please subscribe. Qikuan Star Lord's gaze swept across the model in Lin Yuan's hand, made up of various forces of space. Space rules, vast and endless, have no concrete shape. It's very difficult for ordinary evolvers to comprehend space. Space is not like flame which can emit heat and be felt, nor like earth which can be touched. Therefore, in the 600,000th year of the Starry Sea era, a powerful evolver from the Human Civilization Alliance, skilled in the Tao of space, based on his understanding, substituted the superficial essence of space rules with 965 models. These 965 models, far from expressing the true space rules, could nevertheless point other evolvers in the right direction. They had an effect similar to formulas. Normally, to fully understand these 965 space models was basically equivalent to an introduction to the space rules. And to achieve this, one basically needed to be 7th rank. After all, only 7th rank evolvers could start to comprehend the space rules, and even then, to fully understand the 965 space models required at least the 7th rank Marquis level or even King level. But Lin Yuan? Chiquan Star-Lord could not understand. In his long life he had seen many freaks and monsters, but these were mostly with strong bloodlines or strong physiques and so on. Someone like Lin Yuan, who had just joined the 6th rank for less than half a year, yet had achieved what usually only those at the 7th rank Marquis or King level could achieve, was simply too incredible. Could it be that my disciple's talent for space is also strong? Chiquan Star-Lord thought distractedly. For the past 5 or 6,000 years, the most talented in space that Chiquan Star-Lord had seen was Yin Ling, the silver-haired woman from the last 7 Stars Cave trial. Chiquan Star-Lord had even specially awarded her the Red Mark status and opened the 7 Stars Cave trial world for her. However, Yin Ling's talent for space compared to Lin Yuan was simply like dog shit. Teacher? Lin Yuan saw Chiquan Star-Lord staring at the space model in front of him and spoke softly. I was just reminded of something else. Chiquan Star-Lord immediately reacted and said gravely. With Chiquan Star-Lord's strength, expounding on the superficial 900-plus models of the space rules was something he had long since comprehended. But when Chiquan Star-Lord had comprehended these 900-plus models back in the day, he too was about to step into the 7th rank, and this was under the circumstance where his original form was a starry sky wanderer Kuan, inherently aligned with the space rules. If not for confirming that Lin Yuan was indeed of the human race, Chiquan Star-Lord would feel that the other resembled a starry sky wanderer Kuan even more than himself. The 876 space model. Chiquan Star-Lord also raised his hand, manipulating the power of space, and formed a strangely shaped model in front of him. The model was not fixed, but was slowly changing with the space fluctuations. The 876 space model, Lin Yuan immediately observed intently. Within the Red Kuan lineage's cultivation treasury, there was a detailed explanation on the 965 space models. There were even specific space class evolvers who voluntarily demonstrated the models. However, space is changing every moment, always fluctuating, and past space models might not be applicable to current space fluctuations. Thus, the space model Chiquan Star-Lord currently condensed belonged to the model most attuned to the present universal space rules, naturally providing greater inspiration to Lin Yuan. Your understanding defies heaven, observing unknown space models deepens your comprehension of space rules. Your understanding defies heaven, observing unknown space models deepens your comprehension of space rules. Your understanding defies heaven, observing unknown space models deepens your comprehension of space rules. Lin Yuan's mind was bursting with spiritual light, countless insights about the power of space, which he had accumulated during the decades of wandering outside the central Earth world, watching the chaos of the void, all erupted forth. In front of Lin Yuan, hundreds of space models simultaneously collapsed. Threads of space power rapidly intertwined and collided. They actually formed a new space model. This space model, slowly changing with the space fluctuations, turned out to be consistent with the space model in front of Chiquan Star-Lord. So that's how it is. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. This kind of space model had puzzled Lin Yuan for nearly a month. Now, with Chiquan Star-Lord's guidance, he finally comprehended it thoroughly. You figured it out just like that? Above the high seat, Chiquan Star-Lord was dumbfounded. He had only demonstrated once and Lin Yuan had learned it? Chiquan Star-Lord had just been about to explain a few things, such as reminders for Lin Yuan about how to begin comprehending this type of model. But the result? It was as if a teacher was explaining a problem in class. He had just written out the answer, ready to explain the process and thinking behind it. However, the students below had already learned it, even extrapolating from it. Thank you, teacher. Lin Yuan was in a good mood and immediately thanked Chiquan Star-Lord. If not for Chiquan Star-Lord, with his against heaven's understanding, Lin Yuan would have ultimately comprehended it, but it definitely would have taken much more time. It's no trouble at all, Chiquan Star-Lord waved his hand. Logically, the gratitude from a genius like Lin Yuan should have made him feel quite accomplished. But Chiquan Star-Lord didn't know why he felt somewhat off. He always felt that something was wrong. Teacher, could you demonstrate the remaining 100 space models? Lin Yuan seemed to have remembered something and asked a bit sheepishly. Demonstrate them all together? Chikuan Star Lord was silent for a while, unable to help asking. The 965 space models involving the essence of space rules, each model required evolvers to expend great costs and effort to comprehend. Chapter 291. Oh no, am I going to be surpassed by my disciple? Please subscribe. 2. Lin Yuan now made him demonstrate all the subsequent models in one go. That was equivalent to a grade school student telling his teacher to bring out the middle school, high school, and university curriculums. No problem. The Chikuan Star Lord nodded. If it were any other disciple, the Chikuan Star Lord would definitely have rebuked them for their arrogance and told them to focus on the task at hand before anything else. But Lin Yuan. Thinking of how quickly Lin Yuan had grasped the spatial model just now, the Chikuan Star Lord felt it was best just to follow along and do as asked. One spatial model after another continuously condensed in front of the Chikuan Star Lord. Lin Yuan carefully observed each spatial model. Although he couldn't grasp them instantly, having the Chikuan Star Lord's demonstrations meant that Lin Yuan's future comprehension speed would definitely exceed his previous one. About half a day later, a satisfied expression appeared on Lin Yuan's face. The Chikuan Star Lord, on the other hand, stopped the demonstration of spatial models with a complex look on his face. Thank you, teacher. The disciple has now grasped the subsequent spatial models. Lin Yuan sincerely thanked him. The Chikuan Star Lord nodded. In fact, during this half-day he hadn't spoken a word, just demonstrated various spatial models one by one. He was completely acting like a tool. Seeing Lin Yuan's fully content expression, the Chikuan Star Lord felt a sense of unreality. Was teaching a disciple really this easy? He was already adept at instructing disciples and knew full well that teaching them properly was a very strenuous task. Teacher, regarding the next 7,782 spatial models. Lin Yuan thought for a moment, planning to fully utilize this opportunity of being instructed. The 965 spatial models that Lin Yuan had currently comprehended were just scratching the surface essence of the space rules. Understanding these 965 spatial models meant just entering the space rules. But beyond the beginner level, one still needed to comprehend more of the space's essential rules. Therefore, after the 965 spatial models, there were still 7,782 spatial models. The subsequent models, it's hard for outsiders to instruct and one must rely on self-comprehension. The Chikuan Star Lord spoke evenly, feeling extremely helpless inside. Even he hadn't fully comprehended the 7,782 spatial models, and the Chikuan Star Lord vaguely felt drained by Lin Yuan. Besides, even if he had comprehended those 7,782 spatial models, he would not be able to demonstrate. When it came to space rules, the superficial essence could be shown, but the deeper rule essences, even for the same spatial model. The focus differed for different evolvers who had comprehended it. Okay. Lin Yuan nodded. He was becoming somewhat impatient. As space rules were foundational laws of the main world, vast and endless, the aspects of space rules comprehended by others might not necessarily suit Lin Yuan. If you truly want to comprehend the complete space rules, you could visit the battlefields of different races. The Chikuan Star Lord suggested. Battlefields of different races? Lin Yuan was aware of such places, where the human race engaged in combat with deep space other species. In the battlefields of different races, numerous strong ones fight, and even supreme beings intervene, rendering the space unstable, and there even exist permanent spatial rifts. The Chikuan Star Lord spoke with a sigh. Supreme beings? Lin Yuan's expression grew solemn. Within the Cosmic Human Alliance there were 9 supreme beings. Each supreme being guarded one evolution tower, illuminating the timeless cosmic starry skies. Even across the vast cosmic starry skies, supreme beings were the ceiling of combat power, unparalleled. Only conflicts between supreme beings could create permanent spatial rifts. Otherwise, given the self-healing ability of the main world universe starry sky, even large spatial rifts would gradually heal. Over more than 2 million years of the Starry Sea era, human civilization had expanded rapidly, severely beating different species, primarily because of the numerical superiority of supreme beings. Even the peak clans like the War Machine insect race, with only 6 supreme beings, held the advantage on middle and lower tier battlefields. However, they found themselves at a disadvantage when it came to clashes between supreme beings. Our universe, where we reside, has stable spaces and subdued rule fluctuations, which makes comprehending space rules very difficult. However, in the battlefields of different races, space isn't that stable, especially those that are torn with permanent spatial rifts, where endless space powers permeate, which is quite beneficial for comprehending space rules. Chiquan Star-Lord said. The battlefields of different races are like a meat grinder for countless clans of the universe, filled with dangers, but also numerous opportunities. It's easier to sense the space rules, but that's just one aspect. There are others. For example, certain heritages, many treasures. Many strong ones of different species fight to the death, leaving treasures scattered in hidden locations, their corpses even buried underground. The corpses of the strong ones from different species also hold great value. Furthermore, the permanent spatial rifts on the battlefield of different species sometimes welcome guests from beyond the realm. If you can seize the opportunity, you can gain quite a few benefits. However, if you, my disciple, wish to go to the battlefield of different species, you must not go in person. Send an avatar there instead. Chiquan Star-Lord instructed. For a talent like Lin Yuan, going in person to the battlefield of different species is like a feast for those different species. If Lin Yuan hides within human territories within Chiquan Main Star, if the different species want to assassinate Lin Yuan, they would have to pay a huge price, and afterwards, Lin Yuan would be resurrected. But on the battlefield of different species? The moment the information of Lin Yuan appearing there is leaked, believe it or not, there will be a bunch of 7th rank, 8th rank strong ones from different species lying in wait. After all, on the battlefield, killing Lin Yuan would not require any consequences. Even if he were to be resurrected later, it wouldn't matter. I understand. Lin Yuan nodded. Even traveling to other worlds through the door to the myriad realms, he did it through the ensured method of consciousness descent. Not to mention going to the perilous battlefield of different species. There are over 10 doppelganger skills in the treasury, you can choose one when the time comes. You are now 6th rank and can withstand the soul division involved in creating an avatar. Chiquan Star-Lord said. In the main world, crafting an avatar involves much less cost than in the Immortal Tao world. Still, it requires a portion of the soul's power to be split and infused into the avatar. Without a soul, an avatar is no different from a puppet. Just splitting a part of the soul, those below the 6th rank of evolvers simply cannot do it, and even if they could, it would result in a great loss of origin source and potential. My martial Tao primordial spirit, Yin spirit and Yang spirit. Lin Yuan subconsciously compared his Yin spirit and Yang spirit with the traditional avatar techniques of the main world. In the end he concluded, the martial Tao primordial spirit should be superior to most avatar techniques. At the very least, it does not require Lin Yuan to actively split his soul. Yin spirit and Yang spirit share one consciousness with Lin Yuan's true self, a trinity. It's said that deep in the cosmic starry skies, some rare special life forms naturally possess the doppelganger talent. Most of the avatar techniques of human civilization are derived from those naturally gifted with doppelganger. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Those doppelganger talents were indeed similar to his martial Tao primordial spirit, sharing consciousness without the need for soul splitting. Next, Chiquan Star-Lord gave Lin Yuan a few more words of advice. Essentially, even if you craft an avatar to go to the battlefield of different species, it's best not to reveal your identity. And don't try to kill those from different species, there's no need. If the avatar were to fall on the battlefield, it would also affect Lin Yuan's true body. The Crimson Palace. Chiquan Star-Lord watched Lin Yuan leave. In terms of understanding space rules, except for the eldest disciple, no one else should be able to surpass him now, should they? Chiquan Star-Lord quietly thought to himself. Having grasped over 800 kinds of spatial models, only his eldest disciple could barely outdo him. As for the second and third disciples, they were at best on par or even slightly weaker. The later disciples such as the 4th and 5th, not to mention weren't even 7th rank. This talent? Chiquan Star-Lord sighed. In Lin Yuan, Chiquan Star-Lord felt as though he had grown old, unable to keep up with the times. In such a short period of time, Lin Yuan had grown from initially being the weakest among the 13 peak masters at 4th rank, to now being second only to the great peak master. Chiquan Star-Lord could foresee that, given Lin Yuan's current speed of cultivation and enlightenment, surpassing the great peak master was only a matter of time. Not right. Chiquan Star-Lord suddenly tensed in his heart. Damn, he wouldn't also be surpassed by his own disciple, would he? Chapter 292 The Second Physical Body Divine Ability, please subscribe? I must be overthinking it. Even if my obedient disciple has just begun to grasp space rules and stepped into the 7th rank with ease, but breaking from the 7th rank to the 8th rank, it's not so simple, the Chiquan Star Lord comforted himself. Given his countless opportunities and even after he had seized the Starry Sky Wanderer Kuan Juvenile, entering the 8th layer was still extremely difficult. Even if Lin Yuan's talent exceeded his back then, facing the barrier of the 8th layer, he couldn't just step over it, right? Sometimes having a disciple that's too monstrously talented makes being a master somewhat meaningless, the Chiquan Star Lord sighed. Inside the Palace of the 13 Peaks. The red spirit fluid has arrived. Lin Yuan looked at a small kettle in front of him. The small kettle was a space storage treasure. It appeared to be the size of a palm, but in reality, it contained a small pool's worth of red spirit fluid. Let's begin. Lin Yuan pulled the stopper out of the small kettle. Though he had not yet decided on the content of the 6th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, he had already finalized his plan for the 6th rank. With the red spirit fluid in the kettle, Lin Yuan would be able to reach the limit of the 6th rank in a short amount of time. I wonder what kind of physical body divine ability will be born this time? An expectant look crossed Lin Yuan's face. In the Immortal Tao world, the divine abilities of the fleshly body from the body cultivation lineage depended on the peculiar powers contained deep within one's bloodline. When Lin Yuan established the 6th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, he had borrowed from the body cultivation lineage, particularly in terms of digging deeper into the physical body. So, theoretically, the 6th rank chapter should also be able to give birth to physical body divine abilities. As Lin Yuan retraced the steps of the 6th rank, the differences in his fleshly body would lead to the final physical body divine ability being different. Gurgle. Lin Yuan picked up the small kettle and swallowed all the red spirit fluid. As soon as the fluid slid down his throat, it turned into pure energy that nourished his limbs and extremities. Several days later, Lin Yuan abruptly opened his eyes. I've reached the pinnacle of the 6th rank. Lin Yuan dared not break through any further. Now, if he wished, he could quickly step into the 7th rank. But he wasn't very satisfied with that kind of 7th rank. It didn't complement the first 5 stages of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path very well. The 7th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path should have enough comprehension of space rules, at least a beginner's grasp of them, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The deeper he contemplated space rules, the deeper his understanding became. The essence of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path was to use the Tao of Taiji as the core, to contain all Tao and thereby control all Tao. Incorporating his own understanding and insights of Tao into it, would then perfect the Tao of Taiji and use it to control all Tao. Lin Yuan felt that for him, the most complete path for the 7th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path was to integrate space rules. Of course, this was only in regard to Lin Yuan himself. Other evolvers didn't need to integrate space rules specifically. Any other rules could work as well. It depends on what each individual excels at. Entering the realm of space rules is incredibly difficult, and only a 7th rank evolver would be confident in mastering it. However, the threshold for entering other rules is much lower. For example, in the 7 Stars Cave Trial world, that red pattern examiner's brute strength was a beginner's grasp of the rule of power. To grasp the rule of power at the 4th rank was indeed genius. It showed that it could be done. Other martial arts evolvers just need to grasp a certain rule that suits them at the zenith of the 6th rank in order to have a chance to step into the 7th rank. The physical body divine ability is being nurtured. Lin Yuan keenly felt the changes in his body. He noticed that, deep within his bloodline, a peculiar force was awakening and converging. This was very similar to the first time he had developed a physical body divine ability in the Immortal Tao world. It should take another day or 2, Lin Yuan estimated in his mind. The birth of a physical body divine ability doesn't happen instantly, it needs time to be nurtured. Based on the current pace of nurturing, Lin Yuan felt that in 1 or 2 days, the physical body divine ability would probably be born. Fang Qing is looking for me? Lin Yuan scanned the visitor records and discovered that Fang Qing wanted to see him. Virtual world. Personal space. Lin Yuan and Fang Qing sat facing each other. No need to be formal, just act as before, Lin Yuan casually said, noting Fang Qing's nervousness. He had a close friendship with Fang Qing, who had helped him since the 7-star cave trials by providing information. Later, when Lin Yuan was subjected to the public's scorn by the hundreds of billions of citizens on Kanglan Star because of the Heiyu family's oppression, it was Fang Qing who had stood up for him, going so far as to offer numerous favors to rebuild trade relations for Kanglan Star. Though, in truth, the Heiyu family could only do so much back then, and the external public opinion had not affected Lin Yuan at all. But Fang Qing truly wanted to help him. "Brother Lin, you say it so lightly just as before." Fang Qing relaxed a bit and managed a smile, saying, "But your status now, you're a peak master of the Red Kuan lineage?" Although Fang Qing said this, his heart settled down. At this moment he was extremely grateful that he had fully supported Lin Yuan through his difficulties in the past. Otherwise, with Lin Yuan's current status, Fang Qing might not even be able to see him. As far as Fang Qing knew, since Lin Yuan's arrival at the Qikuan main star, he had hardly met with any outsiders. "How have you been recently?" Lin Yuan asked casually. "Not bad," Fang Qing said softly. "Many people aware of my relationship with Brother Lin want to get close to me, hoping to use me to reach out to Brother Lin." When Kanglan Star faced suppression from the Heiyu family, Fang Qing had stood up for his friend. Subsequently, this friend transformed into the peak master of the Qikuan Star domain. The person whose status changed the most in between, apart from Lin Yuan and his family, was Chapter 293, The Second Physical Body Divine Ability Seeking Subscriptions, _2. It belonged to Fang Qing. After all, who didn't know that Fang Qing had stepped forward to help when Xianxia, the peak master, was hiding his identity? No matter what. In the Qikuan lineage, Fang Qing was already considered a person of the Xianxia peak master. Even those core members of the Qikuan lineage treated Fang Qing with utmost respect. "Ha!" Lin Yuan laughed out loud. Before Lin Yuan had revealed his identity, there were people who went to great lengths to get in touch with Fang Qing through him. Now there were also people who were scheming hard to get close to him through Fang Qing. The drastic change from then to now made Lin Yuan quite reflective. "Xianxia Peak is just established, would you like to come help me?" Lin Yuan chatted with Fang Qing for a while before mentioning this casually. Everyone knew that joining Xianxia Peak now was the same as being among the first to pledge allegiance to the Xianxia Peak master, and in the future they would all be considered senior members. "Thank you, Big Brother Lin." Upon hearing this, Fang Qing immediately stood up and bowed respectfully. The weight of Lin Yuan's words was no different from giving Fang Qing an opportunity to rise to the heavens in one step within the Qikuan lineage. What could be more honorable than becoming a confidant, or even a direct subordinate, under the peak master? After chatting with Lin Yuan, Fang Qing returned to his personal space. "Fang lad. What did I tell you before? Your big brother Lin is destined for boundless prospects," the old man with a white beard said proudly. As an intelligent life form, the old man with a white beard didn't have much strength, but his insight was extremely sharp. "From now on, just follow behind your big brother Lin and devote yourself to serving him well. Don't think about managing anything else, understand?" The white-bearded old man reminded him. He was fully aware that cultivation fanatics like Lin Yuan generally wouldn't bother with too many things. But if Fang Qing tried to take advantage of this to gain something for himself, it would be a huge mistake. "I understand." Fang Qing nodded. As one of the first members to join Xianxia Peak, it was not difficult for Fang Qing to be promoted to a core member of the Qikuan lineage. With such a great opportunity, if Fang Qing still thought about other benefits, he truly would be unworthy of Big Brother Lin's trust. "Cultivate well. Your current head start has already far surpassed that of the old master." The old man with a white beard's voice suddenly became somber. His old master, the 6th-rank Fallen Star Warrior, had some renown in the Qikuan Star Domain and the surrounding star domains. But how could that compare to Fang Qing now? Being under a big tree provides good shade, and even more so with Xianxia Peak Master, who was like a towering tree. Virtual world. Personal space. Lin Yuan opened his personal settlement panel. The profit distribution from the Martial Path Evolutionary Path Settlement. Lin Yuan glanced at the final amount. 289,690,000,000,000 civilization coins? This much. Lin Yuan was a bit surprised. The unit was in billions, 280,000 billion, nearly 300 trillion in enormous wealth. Mainly because the 6th-ranked chapter has made another strong push. Lin Yuan looked over the sales numbers of each ranked chapter. He noticed that the 6th-ranked chapter had been purchased over 1,000 times. You have to know the price Lin Yuan set for the 6th-ranked chapter was 50 billion. A 50 billion priced 6th-ranked chapter, purchased over 1,000 times, amounted to 50 trillion. After adding Lin Yuan's 30/70th split with human civilization and subtracting taxes, the final take-home was close to 200 trillion. The 6th rank chapter was bought over 1,000 times, mostly out of curiosity. As for those who are actually cultivating to the pinnacle of the 5th rank and planning to buy the 6th rank chapter, there are none. Lin Yuan was well aware of how the 1,000+ purchases came about. The martial Dao cultivation evolution paths ranking on the Qigong evolution rankings had soared, thought to be the work of a certain evolutionary scholar. Naturally, it aroused the curiosity of many high-rank evolvers. Therefore, every time Lin Yuan updated the latest chapter of the martial path evolutionary path, there would be a bunch of evolvers who would directly purchase it to take a look. Their reasons for purchasing were likely not for cultivation but out of pure curiosity, wanting to see why the martial path evolutionary path had such potential. It's still too early. If 100 or 200 years go by, and within the martial arts evolutionaries 4th and 5th ranks emerge, that will be the time when the 6th rank chapter will be in its prime. Lin Yuan thought to himself. A moment of curiosity cannot generate a continuous stream of income. But the wider the spread of the martial path evolutionary path, the more evolving cultivators there are who practice it, the more it becomes a true mountain of gold. 30 trillion. And that's just the income from one settlement. Lin Yuan glanced at his account balance and felt pleased. Although with his strength and status, 30 trillion wasn't much for Lin Yuan, it was tantamount to a gift. I still need to push it a bit. After some thought, Lin Yuan made up his mind. The evolution of martial arts cultivators is too slow nowadays, with most lacking guidance and thus, prone to taking the wrong path. Just so happens I've got some free time, I'll make a few martial Tao analysis videos. With a thought, Lin Yuan's personal space began to change. His appearance, body shape, and demeanor also began to transform accordingly. In the end, an image of a slim man appeared. This should be good. Lin Yuan touched his chin. He began explaining from the first tier chapter of the martial path evolutionary path. The first tier chapter is the beginning of the martial path evolutionary path, divided into the innate realm, grandmaster realm, and so on. Among the current martial arts evolutionaries, most are at the first tier chapter. As for innate, Lin Yuan used only a few thousand words to introduce the innate chapter, then took just over 10 minutes to elaborate in detail. Time went by. In just under half a day, Lin Yuan successfully recorded more than 10 videos, including parts of the first tier chapter, second layer chapter, and third rank chapter. This should be enough. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Reviewing the first tier chapter, the second layer chapter, and the third rank chapter was also quite helpful for Lin Yuan himself. Upload them to the virtual world. Lin Yuan entered the Martial Path founder Yuan's account and uploaded the newly recorded set of analysis videos. So many followers already? Lin Yuan glanced at the number of followers Yuan had, which exceeded 100 billion. You should know these 100 billion followers are not ordinary citizens. Those who can enter the virtual world and watch Yuan are either evolutionaries or high-grade citizens. 100 billion followers isn't much less than some celebrity evolutionaries in the Qigong star domain. Completed. Just moments after Lin Yuan clicked upload, more than a dozen analysis videos appeared under Yuan's account. I hope you guys won't disappoint me. The more martial path evolutionaries there are, especially the higher-ranked ones, the deeper Lin Yuan's foundational accumulation in certain aspects becomes. In the future, ultimate leap, everything will be transformed into an overwhelming advantage. After uploading the videos, Lin Yuan didn't pay them further attention. Instead, he contemplated the remaining space models. At the entry stage of space rules, out of 965 space models, Lin Yuan had grasped 4/5 of them. The remaining dozens, demonstrated personally by the Qigong Star Lord, already somewhat understood by Lin Yuan with his Against Heaven's understanding, it's only a matter of time before he completely grasps them. Grasping all 965 kinds of space models, entry into space rules should pave the way to ideally create the 7th rank chapter, Lin Yuan thought to himself. With just an entry-level understanding of space, mixed with the Taiji Dao, to shape the martial path evolutionary path, Lin Yuan felt that once stepping into the ideal state of the 7th rank, his strength would soar. Shen Huang evolutionary path. When Lin Yuan tired of contemplating space rules, he began to contemplate other evolutionary paths. Especially the space-related evolution paths, which are like certain imprints of the essence of space rules. Understanding space-related evolution paths sometimes is no less profound than contemplating space models directly. In addition, whenever Lin Yuan had spare time, he would contemplate the Tao of Taiyang and Taiyin, and the fire system rule crystal given to him by the Qigong Star Lord. Lin Yuan had not yet fully grasped it, each observation brought a different feeling. Time passed by. 2 days went by in the blink of an eye. While Lin Yuan was still engrossed in his cultivation and Tao enlightenment, a ripple that only Lin Yuan could perceive slowly spread out from the depths of his bloodline. Is my second physical body divine ability about to take shape? Lin Yuan immediately stopped his practice and focused on the changes in his body. My second physical body divine ability. With the experience from the first time his physical body divine ability took shape, Lin Yuan was quite adept, carefully experiencing the odd power from the depths of his bloodline. Chapter 294, Choice, Battlefield C24763, please subscribe. Time flowed slowly. The strange power deep within Lin Yuan's bloodline became increasingly apparent. Could this awakened physical body divine ability be geared towards combat and fighting? Physical body divine abilities also come in different types. Some are adept at defense, some at preserving life, and some at attacking. It all depends on which strange power deep in the bloodline is activated. Just as Lin Yuan was feeling it attentively, a complete strange power peeled off from deep within his blood vessels. Immediately afterward, information about this strange power flooded into Lin Yuan's mind. Physical body divine ability, mountain moving? Lin Yuan naturally understood everything about this mountain moving divine ability. The divine ability, mountain moving, does not literally mean moving mountains. It's more of a symbol or description. I didn't expect the awakened physical body divine ability to be tied to the rule of power, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The mountain-moving divine ability is a pure, power divine skill, related to the rule of power. Compared to other cosmic rules, the rule of power is undoubtedly the most common. After all, as long as there are beings, they possess power. Therefore, it's not difficult to get started on the rule of power. In the last 7-star cave trial, there was a red pattern named Brutal Force who had entered the rule of power at 4th rank. Of course, not difficult here is relative to those true genius evolvers. For the average evolver, to perceive the rule of power to the threshold of entry, they would need at least to be at 5th rank or even 6th rank. Otherwise, Brutal Force would not have been designated by the Chiquan Star Lord as a red pattern examiner. The rule of power, easy to start with a high ceiling. If one comprehends deep into the rule of power, every move can shatter everything with power. A very pure path, Lin Yuan mused. The 9 evolution towers of the Cosmic Alliance of Human Civilizations symbolize the indisputable peak of the evolution field. One of those towers is the Tower of Power, and the Supreme Being residing in that evolution tower follows the path of the rule of power. Lin Yuan sensed the strange power related to the mountain-moving power divine skill forming secret patterns within his flesh, resembling a magic web. These secret patterns subtly resonated with the external rule of power. Lin Yuan felt that with any casual strike, he could carry a trace of the rule of power, and his attacks would become several to 10 times more powerful in terms of force. Lin Yuan carefully observed the secret patterns within his flesh. Your against heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essential secret patterns of the rule of power, deepening your understanding of the rule of power. Your against heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essential secret patterns of the rule of power, deepening your understanding of the rule of power. Your against heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essential secret patterns of the rule of power, deepening your understanding of the rule of power. Only a short while had passed. Lin Yuan came to his senses. Have I actually made an entry into the rule of power? Lin Yuan was startled. Previously he had not delved into the rule of power. Even with his against heaven's understanding, how vast are the great ways of the world? One would certainly focus most of their energy on the laws and great ways they wish to comprehend, such as Taiyin Taiyang Taiji or space, etc. The Tao of Taiji governs thousands of other Taos with one, but here, it does not mean fully comprehending them all. Rather, it uses the Tao of Taiji to command the other thousands of Taos. It is like using a knife. You can wield it, but you have no understanding of the knife's construction and essence. As for the rule of power, even though entering it is not difficult, according to Lin Yuan's estimates, if he were to fully focus on this path, it would still take him more than 10 days. Now it took just a short while? Is it because of these secret patterns? These secret patterns are the essence of the power divine skill, mountain moving. By comprehending these secret patterns, am I comprehending a deeper layer of the rule of power? Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful. I didn't expect this physical body divine ability to have such a use, Lin Yuan said with a smile on his face. The divine skill mountain moving could already enhance Lin Yuan's frontal compatibility, and now it could also make understanding the rule of power easier for him. It's just the blood rebirth. Lin Yuan carefully felt the blood rebirth technique imprint. In the immortal Tao world, Lin Yuan, with his against heaven's understanding, fully comprehended the blood rebirth without feeling that this divine skill resonated with any particular rule. Perhaps divine skills vary from one another? Lin Yuan did not linger on this. Blood rebirth or mountain moving, they were all freely given methods. In the Qikuan Star Realm virtual world in the Central Plaza area, the martial path evolutionary path does not require pre-existing conditions, like an innately powerful physique, innately robust spirit or a special constitution, etc. Anyone can practice it, but whether one can enter or step into the innate realm depends on the individual. A burly man looked towards the towering evolution leaderboard in the distance and said in a low voice to several young evolvers beside him. Martial arts evolutionaries at least offer a chance for people to try, while other evolution paths might outright dismiss you if you don't meet certain conditions. If you don't have the prerequisite, you won't even be able to step through the door. Mr. Chin, I'm trying to break through to the innate chapter, but what exactly is innate chi mentioned in there? A young man couldn't help but ask. The first tier chapter of the martial path evolutionary path begins with the innate realm. As for the acquired realm, it is a pre-entry level state. Martial arts evolutionaries who enter this realm are equivalent to other pre-entry evolvers. Innate chi, the burly man fell silent for a moment. He wasn't an evolver on the martial path evolutionary path. How would he know what innate chi was? Chapter 295. Choice Battlefield C24763, please subscribe, _2. In this aspect, it mainly depends on one's own enlightenment. The robust man thought for a moment, just about to speak. Just then, other evolvers in the Central Plaza area started to boil with excitement and noise. What's going on? The robust man quickly learned from the evolvers nearby that the mysterious founder of the martial path evolutionary path had actually uploaded a training lecture video on the martial path evolutionary path. A lecture video? The robust man's spirit was lifted. Given the popularity of the martial path evolutionary path, naturally, there were many videos related to this evolutionary path. This included personal experience videos from many evolvers who had cultivated to the second rank and third rank of martial Dao. However, many of these second rank and third rank martial Dao evolvers' training experience videos were inaccurate or even wrong. Quick, get into the account of the founder of martial path evolutionary path. The robust man immediately ordered several youths beside him. They were all evolvers practicing the martial path evolutionary path, just one step away from advancing. Okay. The youths were also full of excitement, as the founder of the martial path evolutionary path was universally recognized as a great evolutionary scholar. Watching a training analysis video uploaded by such a person would be beneficial even for those not practicing martial path evolutionary path. What about them? They'll take a look too. The robust man also opened the video and watched attentively. A moment later, the virtual world boiled again. So that's how it is to step into the second rank of martial Dao. One needs not only to master a certain power, but also to achieve perfect control over oneself. As expected of a great evolutionary scholar, each video is only 20 to 30 minutes long, but every sentence goes straight to the point, which is much better than those streamers talking about their understanding of martial Dao. How could those streamers compare with Yuan the Great Scholar? Countless evolvers and high-ranked citizens kept exchanging insights, and the news about the lecture videos spread rapidly. This caused more and more evolvers to join in and watch. I understand now. No, why is there only half of the third rank chapter? Where's the rest? So this is the essence of martial path evolutionary path? I've decided, I'll let my son take the martial path evolutionary path. The more one is an evolver of the martial path evolutionary path, the more they realize how incredible the training analysis video uploaded by Lin Yuan is. Questions and confusions that they could not comprehend no matter how hard they thought. After watching the video, suddenly everything became clear as day. It was like a lighthouse in the dark night, leading countless evolvers toward the most correct direction. Some evolvers who had been on the wrong path immediately adjusted their training methods according to the training analysis video and eventually corrected their course. Many people were excited, and even evolvers of other evolutionary paths gained a lot of insights. Although the directions represented by different evolutionary paths are fundamentally different, there are still some similarities in the core of cultivation. For those who have cultivated to the 4th rank and 5th rank in other evolutionary paths, if they switch to cultivating another evolutionary path, their speed of cultivation will definitely be much faster. Donate. Although Scholar Yuan doesn't care about the money, I still want to donate. Right, these videos have been of great help to me, I must donate. Individual accounts in the virtual world are allowed to receive donations, and top star evolvers receive donations that amount to billions every year. Chiquan Main Star. Palace of the 13 Peaks. The 877 space model. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, occasionally raising his right hand as strands of spatial power rippled like water in front of him. Finally completed. After a moment, a complete space model appeared in front of Lin Yuan. With the demonstration of the Chiquan Star Lord, Lin Yuan's speed in comprehending subsequent space models had increased significantly. In just a day or two he had comprehended another space model. It's still too slow. Lin Yuan frowned slightly. At this pace, it would take me more than half a year to fully comprehend the remaining 100 or so space models? For any evolver, the mere thought of comprehending more than 100 space models in 1 to 2 years, especially the last 100 or so, was an unimaginable speed of enlightenment. Even for the silver-haired woman Yin Ling, with her extremely high spatial talent, it would probably take thousands of years to comprehend more than 100 space models. But Lin Yuan had high demands for himself. He wanted to open up the 7th rank chapter of the martial arts evolution system as soon as possible. I can try the method my teacher mentioned, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The space in battlefields of different races was frequently fluctuating, and with an eternal spatial rift present, comprehending space rules there was akin to taking a shortcut. I can dispatch my yang spirit to the alien battlefield, Lin Yuan thought in his heart. The battlefields of different races were filled with many opportunities, but understanding the space rules was only one aspect. There were also tremendous dangers. However, the yang spirit, being Lin Yuan's primordial spirit, wouldn't undergo any loss if it were to perish outside. It could quickly be recondensed. And the combat power of the yang spirit was just slightly weaker than Lin Yuan's own, and if the yang spirit were to merge with the Yin god and become the Taiji primordial spirit, it would have a killing power not inferior to his own. In the world of Immortal Tao, Lin Yuan's own practice in the cloud mist-blessed land was externalized through the Yin spirit and Yang spirit. First, let's determine which alien battlefield to go to. A virtual screen appeared in front of Lin Yuan with lines of text flashing across it. The Human Civilization Alliance waged wars in all directions, battling with numerous different species, and the total number of alien battlefields opened was 2,630,462. There were 135 large alien battlefields. 865,111 medium-sized otherworldly battlefields. The rest were small-sized otherworldly battlefields. The scale of the large, medium, and small alien battlefields correlated with the top combat power on the battlefield, the number of strong beings, and the type of clans. In small battlefields, the top combat power was generally at the 7th rank, with a few reaching the 8th layer. In medium-sized battlefields, the top combat power was at the 8th layer, 9th rank, or even higher. As for large battlefields, the 135 large alien battlefields currently opened by human civilization were all under the watchful eyes of supreme beings. That is to say, in large battlefields, supreme beings could strike at any moment. Species capable of contending with the Human Civilization Alliance on large battlefields were without exception peak clans like the insect race. There lay the true meat grinder, where a war could lead to the fall of even 8th layer evolvers. For my first visit to an alien battlefield, it's best to be cautious and choose a small-sized otherworldly battlefield. Lin Yuan didn't set his sights on medium or large battlefields. Although the death of the Yang spirit wouldn't incur any loss to Lin Yuan, merely requiring some time to reconvene, it was still better not to die if possible. Lin Yuan had a clear objective for heading to the alien battlefield. He wasn't like other evolvers who went to alien battlefields to kill different species, earn merit points and so forth. His sole purpose in going to the alien wars was for a better comprehension of the space rules. With such a goal, a small-sized otherworldly battlefield was enough. Nearly 2 million small-sized otherworldly battlefields. Lin Yuan began to make his selection. Even small-sized alien battlefields came in different types, and some had spatial fluctuations not much different from those in the human civilization territory. The small-sized otherworldly battlefield that Lin Yuan would choose certainly had to be one with noticeable spatial fluctuations. Half an hour later, Lin Yuan had roughly completed his review. Chapter 296 Lucky Break, please subscribe. The strength of the clans in the main world is divided into peak clans, powerful clans, ordinary clans, and weak clans. At the head of the Insect Race Alliance, a peak clan, are hundreds of powerful clans as well as tens of thousands of ordinary clans, united to counter the expansion of human civilization and to compete for their interests. Apart from the Insect Race Alliance, there are 6 or 7 similar clan alliances, all centered around a particular peak clan. Of course, since human civilization has also absorbed many different species, it is also known as the Human Civilization Alliance. Battlefield C24763, significant spatial fluctuations detected, and a permanent spatial rift from 1,000,000 years ago, created by a high-rank evolver with a supreme weapon. All the various information about this alien battlefield was clearly understood by Lin Yuan. In the Immortal Tao world, the reason Lin Yuan dared not send his Yang God and Yin God to the spirit realm was his unfamiliarity with it. This meant overwhelming risk, and with the coordinates of the spirit realm in hand, Lin Yuan did not need to take this kind of risk. Other cultivators, demon practitioners, were desperate to ascend to the spirit realm, no matter the cost. That's because they had no other choice. But Lin Yuan was different. He had many options. Even without the coordinates of the spirit realm, Lin Yuan had almost infinite choices. This battlefield will do, Lin Yuan made up his mind. Even with wormhole travel, it would take half a month to get from Chikuan Star to battlefield C24763. So Lin Yuan needed to hurry. Goddess of Wisdom, I want to apply to go to battlefield C24763. Lin Yuan connected with the Goddess of Wisdom and voiced his request. Respected level 6 citizen Lin Yuan, with your status, there is no need for you to fight on the alien battlefields. The solemn and cold voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through, surprisingly beginning to dissuade Lin Yuan. This was much like the Chikuan Star Lord also not recommending Lin Yuan go to the alien battlefields or, if he must, to send an avatar rather than go in person. Don't worry, I won't be going in person. Lin Yuan explained. Respected level 6 citizen Lin Yuan, you may now state your demands. Suddenly, a voice as cold as ice, laced with a hint of killing intent, rang out. It was entirely different from the solemnity and coldness of the Goddess of Wisdom. It's the Goddess of Freedom. A notion flickered in Lin Yuan's mind. The cosmic alliance of human civilizations is governed by 3 ultimate AI goddesses. They are the Goddess of Wisdom, the Goddess of Freedom, and the Goddess of Justice. The domains overseen by the 3 goddesses vary. The Goddess of Wisdom is in charge of civil affairs and is the one Lin Yuan interacts with the most, whereas the Goddess of Freedom is responsible for war and conquest. Simply put, the more than 2 million alien battlefields that the Human Civilization Alliance has established are all managed and dispatched by the Goddess of Freedom. As Lin Yuan wanted to go to an alien battlefield, any subsequent matters naturally required connecting with the Goddess of Freedom. Hide my identity, don't follow a team, act alone. With Lin Yuan's status as Peak Master 13 of the Red Kuan lineage, if he were to go to an alien battlefield with this identity, it is likely that what was originally a minor alien battlefield would attract a large number of 7th rank and 8th rank alien strong ones. As for following a team, the power of an individual evolver is very insignificant on an alien battlefield, and they would need the combined efforts of several evolvers of the same rank to hope to kill alien strong ones and earn merit points. This is why most evolvers on the battlefield choose to form groups into teams. But Lin Yuan did not need to. He had no intention of fighting to the death with the alien strong ones. Respected level 6 citizen Lin Yuan, your application has been approved, and the battlefield pass has been updated. The cold and murderous voice of the Goddess of Freedom came through. The battlefield pass is an important document that signifies Lin Yuan's identity within the Human Alliance ranks, allowing him entry and exit from the human-controlled territories on the battlefield. Without the battlefield pass on an alien battlefield, you are akin to a person without any status, fair game for both the human race and different species to attack. Everything's almost ready. With a thought from Lin Yuan, a hundreds of meters large spaceship appeared before him. The warship, jet black and streamlined, was imbued with a certain high-tech aura. The expanse of the cosmic frontiers was vast, like traveling from Chikuan main star to battlefield C24763 at the speed of light, which would take a very long time. So normal human evolvers travel on warships for long-distance wormhole shuttle. But wormhole shuttle needs a cooling-off period. Without paying a price, consecutive shuttling is not possible. Whirling. A phantom figure walked out from Lin Yuan's body. When it appeared in the outside world, it quickly condensed into substance. It was Lin Yuan's Taiyang divine spirit. Go. Lin Yuan looked at the Taiyang Divine Spirit. With a smile at the corners of his mouth, the Taiyang Divine Spirit entered the spaceship. Suddenly, the spaceship began to activate, heading out beyond Chikuan main star. As the most prosperous planet within a star domain, there are countless spaceships and warships coming and going from Chikuan main star every day. The spaceship that Lin Yuanyang was on did not attract much attention. Whoosh. The pitch-black spaceship swiftly entered the star platform of Chikuan main star, preparing to leave. I hope the experience on the alien battlefield will help me grasp the space rules. Lin Yuan secretly thought. By sending the Yang spirit to the alien battlefield, Lin Yuan was not only eager to thoroughly understand the 965 kinds of space models, but he also intended to expedite understanding the subsequent 7,782 kinds of space models. Why is there extra money in my account? Lin Yuan returned to the Grand Hall, glanced casually at his account balance, and discovered an additional several billion civilization coins. Chapter 297 Lucky Break, please subscribe. _2. Billions of civilization currency wasn't a small amount, even for 5th rank or 6th rank evolvers. Was it a reward? Lin Yuan checked the source of the civilization currency and found it originated from rewards. The dozen or so videos I uploaded. It was then that Lin Yuan remembered that a few days ago, to make training easier for martial arts evolutionaries and to spread the martial path evolutionary path more quickly and widely, he had specifically recorded some training guidance videos. With that thought, Lin Yuan immediately opened the Yuan account and checked the comments under the videos. Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow. There were over 10 billion comments under each video, the majority of which were not from martial path evolutionaries. They're all urging me to update the videos with guidance on the second half of the 3rd rank chapter, the 4th rank chapter, and the 5th rank chapter? Lin Yuan glanced at them and slightly shook his head. Such training guidance videos couldn't be produced whenever one wished. This had nothing to do with Lin Yuan's understanding of the martial path evolutionary path. Even if Lin Yuan understood it deeply, what use would it be if others couldn't understand what he explained? Therefore, the recording and production of such videos must use simple language that ordinary evolutionaries could understand. Has the number of first-rank martial arts evolutionaries increased substantially? Lin Yuan glanced at the real-time curve of the number of evolutionaries at each stage of the martial path evolutionary path. He found that since the day he posted the videos, the number of first-rank martial arts evolutionaries had skyrocketed. Moreover, the numbers of second-rank and third-rank martial arts evolutionaries had also experienced a significant increase. Not bad, not bad. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. The surge in the number of martial arts evolutionaries not only meant that Lin Yuan's income would skyrocket. It also increased a certain foundation of Lin Yuan. The latter was even more crucial. At the border of the human civilization territory in the cosmos, the void slightly distorted. A black spaceship appeared. The 862nd wormhole shuttle is complete, soon arriving at C-24763 alien battlefield. The voice of the spaceship's AI assistant resounded in Lin Yuan's ears. Are we at the battlefield? Lin Yuanyang opened his eyes and looked ahead. It had taken 18 days to reach the C-24763 alien battlefield since departing from Chikuan main star. Is that the alien battlefield? Lin Yuan looked somewhat shocked. He saw a continent floating in the cosmic starry sky in the extreme distance. C-24763 alien battlefield, primarily a continent in shape, diameter of 0.2 light-years, that is 2 trillion kilometers. Lin Yuan's mind flashed with specific information about C-24763 alien battlefield. The cosmos is vast. Planets are just the most common celestial bodies, but beyond planets, the depths of the universe contain many incredible celestial bodies. A continent-shaped celestial body is not uncommon. Many battlefields of different races are located on such massive objects measured in light-years. Where do we enter from? Lin Yuan began to determine the direction. C-24763 alien battlefield was immensely vast, and its surface was engulfed in a kind of cosmic energy forming a mist. Usually, evolutionaries entering such a battlefield would randomly pick a direction to go in, and only once inside could they roughly determine their bearings. Let's go. Lin Yuan controlled the spaceship, flying in one direction. On the outskirts of C-24763 alien battlefield, several figures stood in a mountain valley. These figures exuded a strange and dark aura, belonging to the Heiyuan clan from the cosmos. The Heiyuan clan, born from the Heiyuan secret realm, cultivated by absorbing the power of the Black Abyss. Compared to regular cosmic energy, the power of the Black Abyss was sinister and peculiar, so when the Heiyuan clan encountered the outside universe, they quickly secured their status. They weren't like other cosmic secret realms discovered, where the clans inside would be captured and relegated to being gardens for the peak clans, a much more miserable fate. Of course, the Heiyuan clan's ability to do so and their timely affiliation with the insect race, offering the clan's most precious treasure, the heart of the Black Abyss, also played a part. With the protection of the insect race, most clans wouldn't dare think about touching the Heiyuan secret realm. This spatial entrance likely comes from the efforts of an 8th layer strong being, or at least a 7th rank monarch proficient in the Tao of space. Several figures from the Heiyuan clan, with the foremost figure staring at the slightly distorted spatial barrier in the corner of the valley. The other Heiyuan clan members were also excited. On the alien battlefield, countless strong beings clashed, and occasionally two strong beings would injure each other so badly neither could retreat to their own camps in time, forcing them to hurriedly hide in some secretive spot to recuperate. But often they wouldn't recover from their injuries and would instead die from backlash. Of course, before their deaths, these strong beings would have prepared themselves. It wouldn't be easy for outsiders to acquire the treasures they left behind. Just like the current spatial entrance, being able to create a stable space definitely indicated a deep understanding of space rules, and given its longevity without collapsing, at least 965 basic spatial models had been thoroughly understood. This meant the strong being was at least a 7th rank monarch proficient in the Tao of space, and more likely an 8th layer strong being. The legacy possibly left by an 8th layer strong being. Thinking about this, the Heiyuan clan members immediately became excited. They were all 6th rank strong beings, facing what could be the legacy of an 8th layer strong being. Maintaining their sanity was already quite restrained. It must have been left by some human race evolver, the leading figure of the Heian clan carefully observed for a while, furrowing his brow slightly. If this spatial entrance had been left by an 8th layer strong being from the Heiyuan clan, they would dare to enter right away. Chapter 298 Lucky Break, please subscribe. _3. Because they all belong to the Black Abyss clan, even if they set up failsafes, these were intended for combating other different species. The inheritance they left behind was naturally meant to fall into the hands of their own kind. Therefore, the few members of the Black Abyss clan only needed to reveal their own Black Abyss aura to smoothly acquire everything. But the human race. The human race was in an adversarial relationship with the Black Abyss clan. If they were to enter, they would certainly trigger the various contingencies left behind by the space's opener. A space carved out by a suspected 8th layer powerhouse with contingencies left behind could retain a certain level of potency even after hundreds of thousands of years. You go in first. The leading member of the Black Abyss clan glanced at the one beside him and spoke indifferently. Captain Wei Qing, I am not the strongest. Entering a space gateway left by such a level might not be a good idea. This member of the Black Abyss clan, named Ranfin, looked cautiously at Captain Wei Qing and tentatively spoke. Although the inheritance left by a suspected 8th layer powerhouse greatly tempted him, the prerequisite was to be alive to claim it. The first one to enter would certainly face the greatest risk. Ranfin, although your strength isn't great, your life-saving techniques are strong. If you go in, according to the rules we agreed upon beforehand, you'll get 30% of all the loots. Another member of the Black Abyss clan spoke up. All right. Captain Wei Qing, you heard that. Ranfin clenched his teeth. It was mainly that he didn't have much of a choice. If he didn't enter, Captain Wei Qing would still invite him in. A moment later, Captain Wei Qing's brow furrowed. Dead. Captain Wei Qing declared. Not long after Ranfin entered, the communication with him was completely severed, which meant death. With Ranfin's survival ability, even 7th rank powerhouses shouldn't be able to kill him in a short time, right? The rest of the Black Abyss clan powerhouses suddenly felt troubled. This also shows that the space gateway here has even greater value. Captain Wei Qing spoke. They had come across this place by chance. They only discovered the space gateway while planning to rest in this valley. The gateway's aura was concealed. It simply couldn't be detected by perceptual methods. You could only find something amiss by approaching within a certain distance. So for many years this space gateway remained undiscovered. Battlefield C24763 was too vast, with a diameter of 0.2 light-years, an unknown multiple of a normal planet's size. You guys. Captain Wei Qing swept a glance at the remaining members of the Black Abyss clan. Captain Wei Qing, even Ranfan died. Entering would mean certain death for us too. It's not necessary. The several Black Abyss clan powerhouses immediately grew nervous. That is true. Captain Wei Qing thought for a while. He did not really mind the life or death of the other Black Abyss members. But the prerequisite was obtaining the inheritance from inside the space gateway. Would it require reporting back to the clan? Captain Wei Qing felt somewhat unwilling in his heart. With the strength of the Heiyuan clan, if they dispatched a powerhouse, they would definitely be able to extract all the treasures and inheritance from inside the space gateway. But by doing that, Captain Wei Qing could only receive a small share. The lion's share would certainly fall to the clan. Just at that moment, Captain Wei Qing seemed to sense something and looked up in a certain direction. A pitch-black spaceship was flying towards them at this moment. Is it a human race evolver? Captain Wei Qing immediately made a judgment. It couldn't be helped. The Heiyuan clan's technology was lacking, incapable of building ships that could perform wormhole shuttles. Therefore, the Heiyuan clan did not rely on spaceships for travel. The human race? Captain Wei Qing, we can capture this human race and then force him into the space gateway. He is from the human race, and the one who left behind this space gateway is also from the human race. If a human enters, he probably won't encounter the kill switches. When he gets all the inheritance and treasures, we just take them from him. One of the Black Abyss clan powerhouses immediately spoke. Upon hearing this, the rest of the Black Abyss clan powerhouses immediately agreed. That way they didn't need to venture inside themselves, nor was there any need to report back to the tribe and give away a large share. Captain Wei Qing's eyes lit up, he nodded and said, "Good idea." Then he looked up at the position of the pitch-black spaceship, a smile appearing on his face. Lucky. Chapter 299. The strong members of the Heiyuan clan within the valley were in high spirits. They had originally planned to report this spatial entrance to their clan, since even a small share was much better than nothing. But now they had unexpectedly discovered a member of the human race actively approaching them. If they could control this human, force him into the spatial entrance, with his identity as part of the same race as the owner of the spatial entrance, they should easily be able to bring out all the treasures. At that time, they could solely enjoy the treasures stored inside this spatial entrance. Don't get too excited too soon. First, determine the strength and number of humans in this spaceship. Captain Wei Qing had not relaxed his vigilance. On the battlefields of different races, any slight oversight could cost them their lives. Compared to the human race and the insect race and other peak clans who could be resurrected, the life of their mighty clans was truly over upon death. The clans would not pay a heavy price to ask the peak clans to resurrect them. Okay. A member of the Heiyuan clan, with skin of a bluish hue, took out a sky blue gemstone. Immediately, he aimed one side of the gemstone at the swiftly approaching dark, streamlined spaceship. A slight vibration spread outwards. This sky blue gemstone, bestowed by the insect race, was used to detect the surrounding environment and gauge the levels and numbers of enemy combatants. On the battlefields of different races, it's difficult to kill alien strong ones of the same level, and similarly hard to overpower and kill those weaker than oneself. One reason is the presence of this type of detection gemstone. A 7th rank evolver trying to disguise oneself as 6th rank and then slaughter within the ranks of the weaker different species was practically impossible, because the vast majority of 7th rank evolvers could not escape the detection of this gemstone. Captain, there's only one person in the spaceship, and he has not reached the 7th rank. The blue-skinned member of the Heiyuan clan opened his eyes and spoke. Not having reached the 7th rank is fine. Captain Wei Qing nodded slightly. All of them were at the peak of the 6th rank, with him, Wei Qing, being at the pinnacle of that peak. Together, capturing a human race 6th rank evolver would not be difficult. Lin Yuan piloted the spaceship into the battlefields of different races, being extremely cautious, to the extent that he didn't even use wormhole shuttle. On the battlefields of different races, spatial fluctuations were significant, making precise travel through wormhole shuttle impossible. Moreover, using wormhole shuttle stirred up minor spatial fluctuations, easily drawing the attention of alien strong ones. In the battlefields of different races, if I'm lucky, I might not even encounter any different species. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The battlefields of different races were vast, spanning 0.2 light-years in diameter, a range so immense that even placing hundreds of billions of evolvers inside would be like a drop in the ocean. It's best I don't encounter any different species. I have no interest in them. Lin Yuan thought, battling with the different species, even against the weakest among them, still carried the risk of failure. Lin Yuan's primary aim in entering the battlefields of different races was to head toward that eternal spatial rift to comprehend the space rules emanating from it, allowing him to thoroughly understand the remaining fundamental spatial models and step into the seventh-stage martial Tao realm. Lin Yuan's expression suddenly changed. Just a moment ago, he sensed a faint fluctuation sweep across the spaceship. Are there different species? Lin Yuan's expression turned serious. He was just about to slow down the spaceship, but suddenly, a terrifying wave of energy descended. The spaceship Lin Yuan was in exploded instantly. Whoosh! Lin Yuan's figure appeared not far away. At the same time, several members of the Heiyuan clan immediately surrounded him. Not bad in terms of strength. Heiyuan clan captain Wei Qing eyed Lin Yuan. The strike just now had pierced through the spaceship, and he had thought that Lin Yuan would at least be injured, but it seemed now that his strength was even beyond their estimates. However, Captain Wei Qing was unfazed. With that probing attack, he had already confirmed that Lin Yuan was not a 7th-rank evolver. Since that was the case, then it was simple. Different species? Lin Yuan looked around at the Heiyuan clan strong ones gathering. They don't want to kill me? Lin Yuan pondered thoughtfully, sensing the strength of these Heiyuan clan members, knowing that if they had been serious, it definitely wouldn't have been as simple as before. Human race. If you want to live, listen to us. A member of the Heiyuan clan spoke up, thinking they had the upper hand at this moment. What must I do to live? Lin Yuan's mind stirred following the other's words. Normally, on the battlefields of different races, when the human race encountered the Heiyuan clan, there would be no talking, only immediate battle. Human race, killing members of the Heiyuan clan, would earn treasure and merit points rewards. The Heiyuan clan killing members of the human race would likewise earn rewards from their own clan, and possibly even gifts from the insect race. So, unless there were other motives, the two great clans would definitely start fighting upon meeting. It's simple. First, stop resisting. Another member of the Heiyuan clan started to approach. You have to promise you'll let me go, Lin Yuan spoke softly. Of course. A smile surfaced on the face of the approaching Heiyuan clan member. The other Heiyuan clan member's expressions, however, bore a hint of scorn. In this interclan war, to actually believe the promise of a different species was naive. This human race evolver was most likely a novice in war. The next moment, Lin Yuan's figure vanished from the spot. Simultaneously, for miles around, everything was engulfed by Taiyang true fire, the terrifying heat beginning to burn the air, burning everything. Not good. The expressions of the several Heiyuan clan members turned to alarm. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 300 The Taiyang true fire that permeated every inch of air was terrifyingly powerful. The Heiyuan clan powerhouse who had just tried to approach Lin Yuan felt as though his flesh and blood were starting to burn. Just as this Heiyuan clan powerhouse thought about retreating explosively, a right hand, formed of Taiyang true fire, pierced through him. The terrifying power of the true fire exploded, burning the Heiyuan clan powerhouse to nothingness. The Taiyang true fire converged. It reformed into the figure of Lin Yuan. Quick, leave. This human race evolver must be a top genius of the Human Civilization Alliance, not someone that ordinary 6th-rank extremes can compare with. Damn it, with his strength, if he had just revealed a little earlier, we wouldn't have dared to take the initiative. He did it on purpose, deliberately attracting us to surround him. The remaining members of the Heiyuan clan had ugly expressions on their faces. As soon as Lin Yuan unleashed the Taiyang true fire domain and covered tens of thousands of miles. For vengeful. They realized something was wrong. It wasn't something unusual for a 6th-rank evolver to master domain power, but a domain completely filled with Taiyang true fire exerted an inconceivable suppressive force on them. Rumble. Several Heiyuan clan powerhouses tried to move backward, to break free from the suppression of the Taiyang domain, but it was evidently too late. Lin Yuan's figure disappeared again. He became the omnipresent power of Taiyang. In an instant he condensed in front of a Heiyuan clan powerhouse. Captain, save me. This Heiyuan clan powerhouse only lasted a moment. Then he too was burned to nothingness by the Taiyang true fire. Subsequently, the last Heiyuan clan powerhouse showed an unwilling expression, and immediately his physical soul began to burn. As a being from the cosmic secret realm Black Abyss, He had to endure countless competitions since childhood, barely making it out of the Black Abyss. He thought he would shine on the battlefields of different races, break through to the 7th rank, and then return to rule a part of the Black Abyss. But now all was impossible. After effortlessly killing this Heiyuan clan powerhouse, Lin Yuan's gaze turned to the last Heiyuan clan powerhouse. Judging from the expressions of those Heiyuan clan powerhouses just now, this one must be some sort of captain or leader. When Lin Yuan was slaughtering the previous Heiyuan clan powerhouses, this Heiyuan clan powerhouse didn't show any intention of coming to their aid. Instead, he watched coldly as his own clansmen died. Impressive. Captain Wei Qing looked at Lin Yuan. Even though he was in the Taiyang True Fire domain, he showed no fear. The Taiyang True Fire, capable of burning a 6th rank peak powerhouse to nothing, rapidly dissipated when it approached within a few feet of him. He didn't save the other Heiyuan clan powerhouses just now because he wanted his clansmen to test Lin Yuan's strength. Competition within the Heiyuan clan was brutal, especially after they encountered the vast cosmic environment. Every member of the Heiyuan clan had fought their way out from among countless others of their kind. But now, it's time for you to die. The expression on Captain Wei Qing's face revealed his cruelty. The Heiyuan clan had joined the Insect Race Alliance, so as long as one met the conditions, they could directly receive a gift from the Insect Race. Among these was the killing of top genius evolvers of the Human Civilization Alliance. A top 6th rank evolver from the human civilization is even more valuable than an ordinary 7th rank evolver. Condense. Captain Wei Qing believed that he had figured out Lin Yuan. The other party's reliance was on nothing more than the Taiyang True Fire domain and the ability to turn his physical body into Taiyang True Fire. A wave of fluctuations began to spread out from Captain Wei Qing as the center, diffusing in all directions. Wherever the wave passed, the Taiyang True Fire domain began to collapse, and a more potent domain power started to forcefully drive out and suppress the Taiyang True Fire domain. Interesting. Lin Yuan's figure disappeared once again. Useless. My clan's Black Abyss domain can isolate everything. You can't get in. Captain Wei Qing was about to speak. The next moment, traces of spatial fluctuations emerged. Lin Yuan, as if teleporting, appeared directly in front of Captain Wei Qing. What? Captain Wei Qing's eyes widened as the space rules controlled by Lin Yuan, and his manipulation of power, had completely surpassed the limits of a 6th rank evolver and reached the 7th rank realm. In simple terms, although Lin Yuan was still exercising the power of a 6th rank evolver, his understanding of the essence of power was no different from that of a 7th rank, and a casual strike could crush any 6th rank. Captain Wei Qing's consciousness began to blur, and at this moment, a sense of frustration suddenly surged in his heart. As a mighty 7th rank powerhouse, disguising yourself as a 6th rank, isn't that bullying? Worrying. Captain Wei Qing's physical soul was burned to nothingness, transforming into strands of the purest essential power, which then flowed into Lin Yuan's body. Storage ring. Lin Yuan stretched out his right hand, and Captain Wei Qing's storage ring fell into his palm. When he had killed the other Heiyuan clan powerhouses just now, Lin Yuan had also conveniently collected their storage rings. As for the physical soul, it was all incinerated by the Taiyang True Fire into the purest power and then became nourishment for the Taiyang Divine Spirit. No other members of the Heiyuan clan? Lin Yuan closed his eyes slightly, his perception began to spread and permeate, and only after confirming that there were no other life forms within hundreds of thousands of miles, did he let out a slight sigh of relief. Everything was recorded just now, right? Lin Yuan communicated with his intelligent assistant in his mind. Human race evolvers in the battlefields of different races would receive corresponding rewards for killing members of different species. But how to prove that it was you who killed the different species? That would be through the recording software installed by the 3 goddesses. Just record the battle and killing process and later, when reaching the gathering place for the human race on the battlefield, upload the video to the 3 goddesses. After their review, the number of merit points will be finalized. That's right. Many factors, such as spatial fluctuations, affect the battlefields of different races. There are many places where one cannot connect to the 3 goddesses. Only after leaving the battlefield or being in a gathering place of the human race on the battlefield, can one reconnect with the goddesses. It's just that, for what reason did these members of the Heiyuan clan not make a move against me? Lin Yuan landed on the ground, frowning in thought. The Heiyuan clan members hadn't immediately gone for the kill because they wanted Lin Yuan to do something for them. And that something was something the Heiyuan clan could not do, only Lin Yuan could. A thought flickered in Lin Yuan's mind. He began to search carefully in all directions. Half a day later. Lin Yuan arrived in a valley. Just an entrance to a certain space? Lin Yuan observed carefully. Considering the use of space rules, it should come from an evolver of the human race. So that's how it is. Lin Yuan's expression suddenly became clear. Before heading to the battlefields of different races, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't go unprepared, with an understanding of the many opportunities on the battlefield. One type of opportunity included treasures left behind by previous experts. In the battlefields of different races, it's impossible to stay connected with the three goddesses in real time. Thus, some powerful evolvers, too severely injured to heal, would often leave their treasures somewhere before their death. To ensure that their inheritances would not fall into the hands of different species, they usually left tricks that would only be accessible to the human race, preventing targeting by others. Judging by the spatial fluctuations, this space entrance has existed for at least hundreds of thousands of years. The fact that it has not collapsed over such a long period and the internal space still exists suggests that its owner's realm was probably 8th layer, Lin Yuan speculated. An inheritance left by an 8th rank evolver? Lin Yuan immediately felt anticipation, observing the space entrance. It seemed that the treasures inside were still intact. Otherwise, if the treasures had been taken away, the many arrangements would likely have been cleaned up, and this space entrance probably would have collapsed long ago. Space entrance? Lin Yuan's thoughts churned. The space entrance led to a small space which was carved out by a certain evolver. Once reaching the 7th rank evolver level, one begins to comprehend the space rules and utilize the power of space, capable of creating a small space. In the Immortal Tao world, the Taoed Immortal Sect's heavenly ranked technique, Jianghu in the sleeve, is a similar application, but the space created within the sleeve can only be maintained for a short period. For 7th and 8th rank evolvers, the small spaces they create last much longer, and even if the owner dies they won't collapse immediately. Let's go in and have a look. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, and since this was just one of his yang spirits, even if something went wrong, his true self could quickly reform it. It wasn't a risk at all. Besides, since this space entrance was left by a member of the human race, Lin Yuan just needed to reveal his human race identity to face even fewer problems. What is this? Lin Yuan stepped forward, entering the space entrance. Looking ahead, his expression changed slightly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 301. Inside the spatial entrance. There was an open grassland. The breeze blew, causing large grass blades to sway. However, upon closer inspection, one would notice that each blade of grass was composed of extreme spatial force. Freeweb novel. Calm. The moment Lin Yuan entered, countless grass blades shook, and a terrifying spatial storm quickly formed. This? Lin Yuan's expression darkened. With such an extreme spatial storm, even a typical 7th rank evolver wouldn't survive. It's one of our own. Lin Yuan quickly released the aura of his battlefield pass. The battlefield pass, crafted by 3 goddesses and unimitable by alien races, was a critical proof that one was from the human race. As the aura of the human race battlefield pass spread, the spatial storm, which had almost formed completely, quickly began to dissipate. The next moment, the scenery around him began to change. Lin Yuan found himself on the peak of a mountain. A cold man with long black hair was standing with his back to Lin Yuan, overlooking the scenery below the mountain. Is he the master of this small space? Lin Yuan cautiously sized up the cold man's back, silently pondering. With Lin Yuan's discernment, he could tell that this cold man was merely a remnant force, and his main body must have long been dead, or else he wouldn't have remained here this whole time. 7th rank, 8th rank evolvers, with their robust life essence, could leave lingering obsessions and power for lengthy years even in death. You must have realized it by now. My main body is long dead, what remains is merely a lingering obsession, the cold man said, still facing away from Lin Yuan. What year of the Starry Sea era is it now? The cold man continued to speak. The Starry Sea era was the standard recording of time for human civilization. Starry Sea era 212,645. Lin Yuan responded immediately. So much time has already passed. The cold man's emotions seemed to fluctuate slightly. My name is Oyin. Since you are from the human race, you should have heard of me, the cold man said after a moment of silence. Oyin? The 8th rank evolver, Oyin. A stir went through Lin Yuan's mind. In the spacefaring era, recording information had become incredibly easy, Unless it was confidential information, most of it could be found on the network. And the 8th rank evolver, Oin, was a lone evolver who was active around 900,000 years ago during the Starry Sea era. What is a lone evolver? Someone who joins no faction, wanders alone, free and at ease. According to the records of the human civilization in the universe, Oin was last seen in the southeastern region of the human civilization territory. Unexpectedly, he had come to an alien battlefield and perished here. Battlefield C24763, just a small-sized otherworldly battlefield. Although I, Oin, am not among the topmost 8th layers, am not weak either. However, I never expected that in this alien battlefield, I would encounter Black Abyss Qingyu. Oin chuckled softly, his voice tinged with scorn. Black Abyss Qingyu? Lin Yuan's expression changed. Those who carry Black Abyss as a surname are generally from absolute nobility within the Heiyuan clan. And Black Abyss Qingyu, as far as Lin Yuan knew, was currently one of the top 10 figures in the Heiyuan clan. That Black Abyss Qingyu had already stepped into the 8th layer, adept at soul attacks, and just one strike shattered most of my soul. If it weren't for activating a secret technique to save my life, I wouldn't be able to leave behind this small space, probably couldn't even escape. Oin said. Even if I did escape, I couldn't have lasted too long. I couldn't contact the goddesses on the battlefield, so I could only use the last bit of my strength to create a small space and arrange some measures. Oin spoke calmly. Lin Yuan kept silent. Even among 8th-ranked powerful beings, there were variances, and that Black Abyss Qingyu was undoubtedly among the strongest of the 8th layer, far surpassing ordinary 8th-ranked beings. The Chiquan Star Lord was also almost at the top level among the 8th layer. His main body, the Starry Sky Wanderer Kuan, belonged to the peak cosmic lineage, and as an 8th layer he should not be much weaker than that Black Abyss Qingyu. Alright, let's leave these unnecessary topics. Your journey starts at Freeweb Novel. Oin chuckled lightly. So many years have passed and you are the first human to enter this small space, so naturally all the treasures I left behind belong to you. In my life I preferred enjoyment. Not many treasures are left. Currently there is 1 8th layer defensive armor, 1 8th layer soul defense weapon, several weapons of the 7th and 6th layers, 1,000 cubic universe crystals, a special life triple ice wolf bloodline essence potion, and the remaining treasures are of much lower value. You can take a look at them later. Of course, that 8th layer soul defense weapon, severely shattered by a strike from Black Abyss Qingyu, is priceless even in its severely damaged state and can easily be traded for several 8th layer weapons of the same level. Lin Yuan held his breath. The treasures mentioned by Oin, even for 8th-ranked powerhouses, were of extreme value, especially that 8th layer soul defense weapon, which was truly priceless. As for the cosmic crystal stones, they were the raw materials used to manufacture cosmic coins, which could directly be used as currency to trade with other powerhouses. 1,000 cubic universe crystals were roughly equivalent to 100 billion cosmic coins. The exchange rate between the cosmic coin and the currency of the Human Civilization Alliance was 1 to 10,000. And the 3-headed ice wolf blood essence potion. The 3-headed ice wolf, a unique life form from the depths of the universe, reached the 4th rank when mature. Its blood essence could easily be integrated into offspring, readily creating a lineage of evolvers with robust bloodlines. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Phantom Sword Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.